could it be for me? Your man Louie T here on our CWall Wednesday with our favorite guest, Candi Waller, beat reporter for the Washington Commanders from Bowie TV. How are you doing, Candi, on this lovely first Wednesday of October?
First Wednesday of October. I'm doing well. The weather was beautiful
Yes,
today,
it
so
was.
all is good.
Awesome. That is so good to hear. We were talking backstage and you said it's only week 5, but it feels like it's been a full year already this season. Look, look, you are not lying when you say that. Like these 2 losses this year, I feel like have taken like 2 years off the back end of my fandom life. The fans have been crashing out. They've been growing crazy. And I guess it comes with the territory of having some of the Super Bowl aspirations that we had going into this season. Things have not gone the way that I think a lot of people feel like they should have gone to start. We're not that far away from what I anticipated. I thought we'd be 3-1 after the first quarter. And, you know, that one to the Falcons got away from us. That was one that I felt like we could have won. But, you know, despite all the injuries and the things that we had going into that game, felt like a game that was there for the taking, and we let that one slip through our fingers. So you find yourself at 500. My first question to you, you were at the game, I'm presuming, on Sunday, week 4. Yes, Falcons, correct. Okay. So one of the things I enjoyed the most with you talking to you is getting your feedback on how these players, the coaches, how they respond to losses, the demeanor, the mindset, the body language. Last year, you were so colorful with your descriptions of, they were so vivid of, look, when they went to Cincinnati, you would have thought the light show was for them, right? Like that's the kind of energy they had. After the Tampa game, they were pissed off. Like everybody was upset. After the Ravens game, they looked like a team that was like determined. Like they weren't too upset, but they knew that they belonged. What is the vibe after week 4? What did you get a sense of that game when you saw the players and you saw the coaches, you talked to them? What was the sense that you were getting from the team after the week 4 loss at Atlanta?
I'm going to be, of course, transparent, as you know that I am, of course, you know, with you all. And I did not talk to very many people after the Atlanta game. Okay. Green Bay was a little different. I've said that it has been, the only thing I could hear was my heels.
It was that quiet?
It was that quiet. I was like, okay, wait a minute. My shoes too loud. I'm heels, I'm walking hard. I got to get out of here. I'm going back to the press conference room. Until I felt like I'm going to go back in the locker room in a minute. Let me, you know. Sunday, there was some upset people. And, you know, those that normally can keep, you know, even if they're disappointed, can kind of keep it level, right? And still have something positive or something, you know, kind of, you know, just got to do better, at least say something. They were not able to talk Sunday. They were very upset. And I mean, I'm not like in a yelling or screaming. It's not that. It's not that at all. But it definitely was, they were upset. This was an upset group. Green Bay, disappointed, maybe even a little sad, a little disappointed. Sunday, for sure, some frustration.
So
upset.
Let me ask you this too. So I'm trying to stay away from the comparisons to last year. I'm kind of in my Joe Witt bag, and that's not a good name to be using as an example this week. But I'm kind of in my Joe Witt Jr. bag right now, because while I try to shy away from talking about last year, making examples of last year, comparing things to last year, it's hard not to do that. And so, you know, Joe Witt didn't want to talk about last year. Last year was last year, but then he's using last year as an example for something else, and then he's got to come back and apologize to someone, right? Can you give me a comparison to the way you felt like the team, like, is this team as close-knit as last year's team? Are you feeling like this team can do some of the things you saw the team do last year. Obviously, and I've always said this, and I continue to repeat this. This is not last year, and you're never going to recreate the vibes of last year. But do you feel like there's that brotherhood, all of that still exists this year, and you feel like this team can really come together and do some of the things that a lot of people expect them to do?
I feel like the brotherhood is there, absolutely. And let me also say, it's hard. Even I do it, right? Comparing to last year, because it's not like they lost a lot last year.
Right.
And I pay attention to how they are when they lose. Sunday felt different. Sunday felt different.
In what way?
And just the frustration. And it's not, this goes back to a question that I had even asked Marcus Mariota, where I told him I observed this team does not handle losses well. They don't. And that's good. You
that's
don't
a good thing. Right.
To handle it well, right? Again, there's no yelling and screaming. It's none of that. But there was clear frustration. This wasn't like disappointed. This was clear frustration that made me feel like, okay, who didn't do what they were supposed to do? That's how I felt. Right. Where it was like, okay, was this something that was just like, and this goes back to a question I asked Coach Witt last week about the explosive plays. Is this just football, or is this we weren't in the right spot? Right. And so it felt frustrating. I felt frustration more than I felt disappointment. To answer your question about the brotherhood, absolutely. I feel like it's there, but they're missing the mark. Like they're missing something. And some of their notables from last year haven't been notable so far. And it could be for a variety of different reasons. But, that energy they were coming back, they were anticipating. You don't see that at all with certain individuals, and you don't see it, therefore, as a collective, if that makes sense, right? Because it something was different after Sunday. And I think, I'm not saying that every game is hard, but obviously they thought they were going to win that football game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I will say, I referenced this the other day. Does anybody remember Wild Card Weekend Tampa Bay game? And Bobby Wagner was mic'd up, right? And when they went out there for the coin toss, he says, "Oh, they want to receive?" Yeah. 100%. On his way back, he was like, "Do you know how disrespectful that is?"
Right.
The Falcons did that on Sunday.
Yeah.
So my eyes immediately zoomed in on the sideline, Bobby Wagner, like to the defense, because they've just told you what they think.
Feel.
And going back to last year, I did a lot of watching that Atlanta Falcons Commanders game from December. Because for me, that was last season, but it wasn't a whole year ago.
Right.
And I have had a theory since then that many didn't agree with or many didn't like, which was the Commanders won the coin toss.
Yeah, you're talking about in overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Jaden was hot. And he went down and scored. If the Falcons would have won the coin toss, we're talking about a different outcome, because the defense had a hard time that day.
They did.
And what I think I've said this to you, I believe, on the show, or maybe in other, sometimes we all, myself included, let wins cloud our judgment. And that Falcons game in December did not go well for the defense. Okay. And so I'm like, all those things considered, going back to the brotherhood, Sunday's loss felt different. That felt like you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. It felt like there was some more ownership, and not we'll get them next time, or we're, it didn't feel right. There were many that didn't have any they didn't say anything bad. They didn't say anything negative, but they didn't say anything at all, which also made me feel like, oh,
yeah,
I'm really upset people right now.
As they should have been. That was especially on the defensive side, it was a really bad performance defensively against a team that had been struggling too.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been that bad.
Yeah.
It should not have been that bad because I even think it looked worse than it did in December.
Yeah, no, it did. Because remember, in the December game, they didn't do much in the second half until the final 2 drives. And the drive to go down and score the touchdown to tie the game up. And then the drive after we got the ball and Olamide Zaccheaus had the drop and they got the ball back. And if Raheem Morris had known how to manage the clock,
exactly,
they probably would have won the game or at least had a much more reasonable field goal at the end of regulation to win the game. But
yes,
let me get in my Candy Crush bag for a second.
Okay.
And use one of my candy-isms. Let me pull on that thread that you said earlier you said the notables haven't been notable. I love that line. I want you to expound upon that, or as Candy would say, pull on that thread for me, please.
So I've asked in press conferences about Frankie Louie, right? Because I want to understand. I just want to understand what's happening. So an open-ended question. What have you seen so far of Frankie Louie? Okay, they're treating Frankie like a big. Makes sense. Got you. That makes sense. So then it becomes okay, so what do you do about that? What do you do if you know that that's what's happening? Now, has he had I think he had a better game on Sunday.
His best game of the year was on Sunday.
And so going then to the notables not being notable, Mikey Sarenstill, I asked Coach Quinn about Mikey Sarenstill on Monday. In his response, he made sure to say, and Frankie Louie, I think he improved because people know I've been asking.
Right.
And that's fair because I have.
That's right.
But the notables got to be that is why the expectations are so high. Right. Now, those are 2 that I'm going to name because I think those are 2 very important pieces to the success of last year's defense and this year.
Yep.
Right. Especially because there have been injuries. Dietrich Wise, when Dietrich Wise got hurt in Green Bay, I was like, no. I literally said that to myself sitting there like, oh, no.
He was playing so well, too.
Oh. It just, yeah. Will Harris?
I didn't realize how much that was going to impact this. The communication was the worst of the season on Sunday. It was terrible.
Will Harris is missed, and if quiet is kept, Percy Butler was missed on Sunday as well. Quan and Percy helped with Bijan in December. That's who helped. Jeremy Chin was able to help as well, but he was mostly covering Kyle Pitts. But that still becomes, you have no Will Harris.
Yeah. And he was so good in coverage.
So good. Now, you haven't asked me about some other folks. Okay. But
you can bring them up. That's what I pulled on the thread. You go ahead.
And I see comments like she's trying to be nice about. Well, of course I am, because at the end of the day, he's been put in a. Why was he doing that? Because that's not what he was doing in December. When you played the same team with the same offensive weapons, that wasn't your answer, right? I'm talking on that wasn't your answer. So for me, it was all right. Tyler Owens is a safety. He's been here for 2 years now. He didn't have any defensive snaps. Jordan McGee.
That's the one. Candy, this is my problem with Jordan McGee. You can't keep telling us every summer that Jordan McGee is this player that we're so excited about, that we think has so much potential. We got packages for it. That's what he told us. Did he not?
Yeah.
We got packages for this man.
Yeah. Yeah.
This man is getting less than 4 snaps every week.
Right.
Make it make sense. I'm watching Bobby Wagner try to run with Kyle Pitts man to man and getting beat to the corner.
Why? And that's the thing, right? So Bobby's had an excellent year thus far.
Yep.
Excellent year. So that's why I'm like, now wait a minute. And that's where I come in. We're like, all right, everybody got to be objective now.
That's right.
All right, because he has had an excellent season thus far. My question is, and again, I get it's a new season, but you had a safety. You had 3 safeties in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
You can throw a linebacker in there. Doesn't mean that Bobby or anybody has to take less snaps because he didn't in that game. Mm-hmm. He's always taking 100% of the snaps. He's one of the play callers. Mm-hmm. Of course, he's going to take 100%. It now becomes, so let me go back to this. Once I saw Kane Medrano was active, mm-hmm. Let me take you to a moment in the press box. I said, and there it is, everybody. Here we are. They are unleashing Kane to help with Bijan. Mm-hmm. I knew it was something. And then I started feeling some type of way, Louie. I said, oh, why didn't I think of that? Dang, I'm smart. Shoot, I didn't even think of this, right? Kane did special teams as he should. Mm-hmm. And that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But if he's coming in to help like a Percy Butler role, even though Percy plays safety, right, then why you've already given me a clue to Kane. Because I asked, this was one of the players I asked about when he first got here. Tell me about Kane Medrano. We're not sure if he's more like Frankie Louvu or Jeremy Chin. Mm-hmm. I immediately said they're going to put Kane on Bijan. And here we go. Run him. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So this is what you, early in the game, I had my own version of colorful words that I said. Because when I saw what was happening, I said, oh, what we not going to do? I know they not, this is not what he thought. Is this what they're going to do? Oh, no. Mm-mm. Why would you even put somebody in a position where you know that's not where they're most effective? He doesn't use him like that. Bobby's been having an excellent year. He doesn't need to come off the field. He's the play caller. Literally. The game could have actually been way worse. It actually looked way worse than the score showed, in my opinion. Like, it actually looked worse than that. Like 34-27. I'm like, you know what? It's actually not so bad. But I was like, Kane can't get on for defensive snaps. All right, I'm going to take it a step further. Tyler Owens, Jordan McGee, Kane Medrano. Mm-hmm. You got Ali Cahoe as well. Now, Ali did get injured. He had to go.
He tried to take his own head off.
Take his own head off. But even before that, I'm like, you got four different people. Mm-hmm. And even when Jeremy Reeves had to go out of the game, it made more sense to put Darnell Savage in. And that's no shade to Darnell because I like him a whole lot, but he just got here last week.
Right.
So over 2 people who have been here since last year, Tyler Owens and Jordan McGee could not get on for certain purposes.
Right.
Because in some instances things worked, in some instances it didn't. Mm-hmm. But you just can't. They didn't do that in December. I immediately, like on the way home, I said, it's this because I remember the game vividly. I go back and watch other games. They had the same offensive weapons.
Yeah.
So you got to use a similar package. And here's the thing. Sometimes, and I even understand the question of, a veteran player playing faster than a rookie player, mm-hmm. because they may not, speed for speed. They'll get there faster because they can see the play.
They diagnose it. They understand where the play is going and they can diagnose it right.
Where the play is going. Mm-hmm. That makes all the sense in the world when you're not playing against the team that has Bijan Robinson. Because sometimes it really is just checkers.
Right.
You don't have to play chess.
Yeah, exactly. It was nothing chess about what they were doing. It was all checkers.
It's that they're doing the same exact thing. It's the same personnel for the most part. You don't have the Jeremy Chin. You don't see. Now I'm like, am I looking at this too simplistically? Because I'm like, all right, no Jeremy Chin, no, okay, because that's supposed to be Will Harris. So no Will Harris, no Percy. You still have Quan. You got Jeremy Reeves. Where's Tyler? Where's Jordan? I just knew I had hit the jackpot. I said they got Kane to get Bijan. Good. Just match speed for speed. It felt like that was easier. You know what I mean? Just match speed for speed. And because I'm gonna tell, like I said this earlier in your show, Louie, the defense had a hard day against the Falcons last year. They really did. If it was not for, in my opinion, if it was not for the Commanders winning that coin toss in overtime, who knows what would have happened? And as you mentioned, they could have easily won the game, the Falcons, in regulation. If they had, and they've been had time clock management issues.
But Raheem Morris is the worst in the league.
Terrible.
He's horrible. Because even on Sunday, when the command, and we got to talk about this too, because the lack of aggression from this team this year.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. That's very bizarre.
It's not the team we watched last year. The mentality is not the same. And this even extends to when Jaden was out there in Green Bay. We had 3 timeouts at the 2-minute warning at midfield, and they were playing for a 50+ yard field goal. That is not the team we watched last year. They had 3 timeouts on Sunday, and we got 2 completions for first downs. Mariota almost throws a pick, and it's like they went into a shell. Handoff, let the clock run, and Raheem Morris should have called a timeout. And they showed Michael Penix on television, and he's pointing up at like, call timeout. He's saying, you can read his lips. Call time. What is he doing? Call timeout.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah,
Raheem Morris is the worst.
Yeah, he's not good at clock. That's definitely Achilles heel for him. And so it was bizarre to me because we could see it unfolding, and I was like, nope, I know this is not the answer. Yeah, I know this isn't the answer. And again, it wasn't a good day in December for the defense, you all. But and I'm not saying that any of the players that I named that didn't get defensive snaps, I'm not saying it would have been better. What I am saying is, we really need to understand the why not.
Yeah, no. Like, we know what the end result of Bobby trying to chase Bijan Robinson or Kyle.
We already knew that.
We already know the end result. So why not try something different?
And that's what I'm saying. He didn't do that in December. Why are you making him do it today?
I'm gonna tell you right now what I gathered from Joe Witt last week. Okay, first of all, let me set the table here, for context purposes.
Yeah.
To me, this is my personal opinion. That was the worst call game I've seen from Joe Witt Jr.
It was bizarre. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what? This doesn't, because
last week you guys asked him,
it didn't make sense,
about Michael Penix being a young quarterback and were you going to try to do some things to confuse him? And he started smiling with that mad scientist smile, like, I'm not going to tell y'all my game plan, but we got some things for him. Right? That was his response. He tried to be too cute. It
was too strategic. But it still should. Again, this goes back to that was checkers. Get the fastest person. That's what they did. Percy and Jeremy Chin, and last year December they actually used Jeremy more as a linebacker with Pitts, right? You use your just get the fastest people. Now it's not about playing fast or outsmarting or being able to diagnose the play before it happens. Now you just need to match speed for speed. Sometimes it works, right? But that's Bijan. That's Bijan Robinson. It's a different person. That is a different human back there. There's a different human back there. Him and Saquon, you can't play those kind of games. And it really felt like, and I've been said this all last week. Here's the thing: you do not play with a team that is desperate. Yeah. A team that is desperate. They scored 0 points the previous week, which is like very rare. That is not normal, everybody. That is not normal, nor is that an indicator of the type of team that is. So if they scored 0 points, you already know they're going to do their best to run the numbers up at home.
Yeah. I mean, they were talking crazy about, do we need to fire Raheem? Like, it was getting dark.
Playing for their jobs.
I mean, and they had made a lot of changes. They fired the wide receiver coach, made him a scapegoat.
I said they already firing people. That's a shot fired around the facility.
Yep.
Okay. All the rest.
The offensive coordinator, you got to come out of the booth and come down on the sidelines.
You got to come down on the sidelines.
There's a lot going on.
They you cannot play. You can't sleep on a desperate team. And it felt like they went to sleep, and I couldn't figure out why. I could not figure out why. And it didn't make sense. It just didn't. And so, Will Harris made more of an impact than people realize. Percy Butler, more of an impact than people realize when you talk about that speed. Bijan gonna still have a day, everybody. But here's the thing. Last December, you didn't hear all of their names called. You didn't hear Bijan and Drake and Kyle Pitts. My goodness. And Michael Penix is getting better. He didn't have a good game the week prior, right? But like, that can't happen again.
Yeah. What I don't want to see ever again is because he got, like I said, this is the worst called game I've seen from Joe Whitt, because
I hadn't seen that before.
He had Dorrance dropping in the hook zones.
He had Dorrance dropping in the cover.
Jacob Martin dropping in the hook zones. And I'm like, why? That's your best pass rusher. Dorrance Armstrong is your best pass rusher. We're not getting to the quarterback. What sense does it make to drop him into zone? And this is the thing. It's one thing if Dorrance is like great in space and he's very zone aware, spatial awareness. Like, he's dropping into a hook zone and Drake London runs a hook and he has no idea where he is.
He doesn't know where he is.
And he throws it right to Drake London. Then Drake makes a move. Dorrance backs up 4 yards and lets him get an additional 2 yards.
I didn't know what was happening.
I thought he tried so hard to confuse a young quarterback that he confused his own defense.
It didn't make sense.
Just do what you do best. Don't try to do something that's out of the ordinary, trying to confuse a young quarterback. Just pressure him. Just make him uncomfortable. He's shown that he isn't good. His footwork goes to shit when you pressure him. Don't let him stand back there and be comfortable. He was building a house back there on Sunday.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that out. It didn't, and it kind of went away from what they've been doing so far, which was just get after the quarterback.
Right. Stunts and twist up front activity. We didn't see that on Sunday.
I didn't, and that wasn't good. I haven't covered with this staff. I haven't covered many losses, so that's a great thing. But that was not it. It was, I don't know. And that's why I'm like, and now you've allowed I'm trying to say this objectively. You got to put your people in where they are used best.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yep.
And exploiting deficiencies isn't what anybody ever wants to do. And sometimes it doesn't matter who, it always matters who's the smartest. It does. Sometimes you just need who's the fastest. Don't overthink this.
Yeah.
Do not overthink this. This isn't an IQ test.
Right.
Right.
Like, I don't need Bobby running from the C gap on a twist to the A gap. Just run him up the A gap.
It didn't matter. I was sitting there like,
just run him up the A gap.
Again, this is another transparent moment. I don't know if y'all know Lake Lewis. In the press box, I was sitting in between Lake and Donna, and I don't think Donna heard me. But sometimes you get in the press box and they got all this food in there. They got all kinds of stuff in there. And, my family, I had a lot of family that was in Atlanta. And so, we all went out to dinner the night before. Then I'm like, it's a dessert station in there. And I'm like, I'm eating dessert for breakfast. Right? I piggybacked on the fact that, they got fountain Seagram's ginger ale in here. So my stomach get upset. I'm just gonna go
just get some ginger ale.
And I'm sitting there. I don't even know at what point in time the game it was, but I was sitting there and I said, I think I'm going to be sick. And Lake was like, what? I said, I think I'm going to be sick. And he was like, you okay? Is it from the ice cream? It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm eating ice cream. And I was like, It's the game.
I was about to say, first I was like, is it the game or is it?
Laughing. And I said, no, for real though, it probably is that ice cream. It was like 10:30. Why am I eating ice cream?
I was like, yeah, you was tripping, Candy.
I was
you was tripping. Eating ice cream that early in the morning. You was wild. He was wild. Straight up.
He was like, I've never heard you say that. I've never felt this sick watching it. I was like, what are you doing? It makes no sense. And if I'm being, again, transparent with you all, because that's how I roll. I'd like to try to, I am a reporter. I take pride and integrity in what I do, and sharing it with you all. But I will be honest and say, last week was probably the first week. You might be surprised by this, but last week was probably the first week I let myself get emotionally involved.
In what way?
Because I really did want to see Marcus win on Sunday. I did. I did. Yeah. I really did. And I had to catch myself because it was like, you build relationships with people, you see these humans and you like, and I'm not gonna lie, the fans and the media base and the Falcons were so irate all week. Like, oh my God, if Dan Quinn and Marcus Mariota come.
Oh yeah, that was definitely the energy last week. I played some of that on my show last week.
For them. Yeah. So I never even really care. Honestly, I just like whatever, I mean, you just got to do your job. I do my job too. Winning is good for business. That's the fact. Like it is. It's good for business.
That's right.
But I found myself being like, yeah, go ahead and go out there and ruin these people's day.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like they were talking about their season being over if Marcus Mariota and Dan Quinn coming in and win. I wanted it so bad.
I was like, oh, I found myself like, and I shared this with a couple of people, and Marcus and them, they're completely humble. They don't even get rattled with any of that stuff. But I'm like, I found myself wanting Marcus to go down here and win, but that right there, I don't know what that was. I just don't. And I've tried to rationalize the why, which is probably making it harder for me to be like, because it didn't make sense. I mean, I literally had to watch the whole December game over. And I probably got through the first quarter. I think I watched the first and the fourth. And I was just like, I can't watch it because this is just going to frustrate me. So that one was a rough one. I think it was like trying to be too strategic. And again, going back to like the mad scientist lab, we got something. I legit thought it was Kane.
Yeah. I didn't know what it was until I just watched the film today. So I've watched the game back multiple times, but I just watched the film, and you really see he overthought it.
He overthought it. It was just
like you said, he was trying to play chess when all that was required was checkers.
That's it.
And you weren't playing against one of these elite quarterbacks that have seen every blitz, and now you got to try to really outskill them, and you playing against a dude making his 7th career NFL start. Like, don't overthink it, right?
Yeah, it's the same offensive weapons. It's the same, but they desperate. So that means you got to be aggressive. Yeah. And now the aggression, though, across the board, I didn't think didn't really see. Just give it to them. Just go. I want to go back. We don't want to talk about last year, but I'm going to talk about it because that's what you got to reference, right? And I know none of them like to, but sometimes you do. Some of that aggression, in my opinion, last season, looking back on it now, that came from Jaden.
In what way?
You mentioned the Cincinnati game, and I always bring it up because that was the turning point. I felt like.
Yeah, that was the coming out party.
A lot of those fourth down calls, a lot of those calls, that was Jaden. That was Jaden. Make it like, go. I can do it now. It's also like, what do you do? Because you don't want him run. You don't want him to turn into the superhero, superhuman. But that's what got the charge of go. And
let me ask you this then. Let me get back into my Candy Crush bag and pull on that thread again. Yes. So, do you think that the aggression we saw last year stemmed more from this we don't have anything to lose type of mentality. It was kind of like playing with house money, so to speak. Nobody had the Commanders on their radar last year. We weren't supposed to be 12-5 and making an NFC championship game appearance. You kind of could go into these games because, hey, we're the Commanders. Like, it's just us, right? Mm-hmm. This year, people are checking for you. You're on the radar. You're sort of a darling team. You're on primetime a bunch. You have island games all over the place. We don't play. I know you know this because you are part of the schedule. We don't play another 1 o'clock game until December. Right. Okay. The NFL has spoken. They want to see the Commanders. They want to see Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So are they feeling the pressure of being, because DQ said we're always the hunter, but they're really being hunted. Are they feeling the pressure of not being in the position they were last year and now having real expectations? Because we just haven't seen the aggression, Candi. We haven't seen it in the 2-minute drills before the half. We haven't seen it in these short yardage situations where they would go for it. And I will say this, some of that is due to penalties and, things that they've done on early downs to set them back. They're not in 4th and 2s like they were on Sunday when they did go for it. They're in 4th and 7s. They're in 4th and 8s. And they're in 4th and 6s. But even some of those last year, they went for it on 4th and 6 and 4th and 4 and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So do you think there is this mindset? Is there a shift there, or you just think they just haven't gotten into a rhythm or been in enough situations to be aggressive? I still don't think the 2-minute situations, the aggressive, I can't explain that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hate to be like, I don't know, because it's just, one of the reasons why you keep a staff together is because you want to build on, and we've heard Coach Quinn say this, you want to build on what you did last year. You don't want to do the same thing. You want to build on it. Right. So if you're the hunter, hunt.
Right. All right. That's what we did last year. We hunted.
You hunt. You don't wait for it to come to you. Get after it. Just go and do what works, because now you should know that you are the hunted. Mm-hmm. You are now, and that's what you get for being good last year, right?
Right.
So
comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory. You are the hunted. So now, go, but it's almost like you have to. Sunday, I had to also be honest and say, Jaden got this team out of a lot of jams last year.
Or did he ever?
Jaden Daniels got this team out of a lot of jams. And Austin Seibert won a game for him. Mm-hmm. The dunk to the division. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot of just, but you saw that energy of just go. And it was like, I can't remember if it was Terry McLaurin. I can't remember who it was right now at the moment. But is it when you got a quarterback like Jaden Daniels that believes he can win every single game, he just makes you believe it too. Mm. But I don't know why it hasn't seeped into everybody's pores into this year, right? Let me go back to Frankie Louver's being treated like a big now. Rightfully so. Good. That's what you get. Number 70 on the top NFL 100. In his first appearance, right? I think it was his first appearance. Good. You should anticipate the wreck. And that's where I am. I have not seen yet where they have proactively anticipated that they are now they are being hunted, like for sure. Yeah. Like they come after your quarterback, they coming after all your top 100 people. Take them out, like get them all. They're not, and it's just you gotta expect the wreck is coming. Mm-hmm. So you gotta just I'm here to steal your candy.
Yeah.
I'm the boogeyman. Yeah. What do boogeyman do? They come to scare you.
Right.
Instead, it's like you're waiting for them to why?
Right.
And so it's I see it in moments, but it's not like just wreckage. Mm-hmm. And that's who they should be. You do this, and I really don't understand. Sunday surprised me. I'm not gonna lie. In the past I've been like, oh, I thought that was going to happen, but no, that surprised me. Maybe not so much offensively. Mm-hmm. Defensively, shocked.
Me too.
And Dietrich Wise absolutely miss him and what he could have been with this defense. Will Harris, everybody knows now. If you didn't know,
right,
what he brought to that defense, and again, quietly, what Percy brings to the defense in terms of,
I don't think anybody was thinking about his loss.
Thinking about the fact that Percy Butler did not play on Sunday, and when it comes to, it's bizarre, right? But where is the aggression? And I just remember the Cincinnati game last year. A lot of those fourth, but that was Jaden.
Oh yeah. I talked about Cliff calling that same bootleg.
Like, and he wasn't
that naked boot, and I'm like, stop calling that play. Jaden would make it work every time.
And so there's other pieces there. They have to understand, everybody loves to take down the top dog. Everybody loves it, and it's still too many people that didn't believe what they did last year. They could do it. They could do it. I'm not saying they got to win every game, but it shouldn't look like that on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so, in the missed tackles, like we could talk about even some of this all day, but missed tackles actually, going back to Percy Butler, on special teams and on defense in the double digits.
Yeah.
Why? For what?
That was the worst tackling exhibition I've seen from a DQ coach team here in Washington.
Yes.
It was bad.
It might have been that might have been the worst I've seen them look defensively. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Since like that, absolutely. And I just couldn't figure out why and what's gonna happen. Why. But they better do something, because the season gets harder. It doesn't. Right. They're literally. I've looked at the schedule, and even once I got home Sunday night, I'm like, I got to get in front of the TV. I got to look at all this. And I'm like, they don't have. There is no such thing as an easy game. None of these are easy. You already down dealing with injuries. Now Mikey's on the injury list. You got some stuff going on in your building from the injury perspective. Mm-hmm. So, which they hadn't experienced last year at all, right? Not up to this point. Week 6, Jonathan Allen got hurt, but largely they weren't dealing with any injuries last season, and now you are. And it's like, now you need people to get on the field, and you're not putting them on the field. It's a weird thing. I'm not certain what it is, but it's like, do what works.
And the energy, to your point, is off. And I think you see it play itself out a little bit more in the home versus away discrepancy. You could argue that the opponents that we've played at home haven't been very good. Okay, I hear that. Touche. But the energy has clearly been different at home than it has been on the road. And it just has been so noticeable. We have not led at any point in either of the road games. At no point, not for 1 second of either of those games. And for most of both of those road games, we've been down 2 scores for the vast majority of the game. You're always in constant catch up, play from behind mode, because you getting off to these really slow starts. Again, something that we didn't do last season. We didn't get off to a lot of slow starts. There was the Atlanta game, like you mentioned already. We were down 17-7. I think that might have been our biggest halftime deficit last season.
Well, and I also think now, see, and I thought about that as well. See, the comeback, what do you call them? The comeback commanders, the cardiac commanders. See, stop all that. Stop all of that. Because everybody else is going to start stopping all of that. Right? You're not going to come back and beat them like you did before. Yeah. Right? It's like everybody else is learning them from last year. It doesn't seem like they have learned from themselves, which is bizarre for me because I spend so much time there.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the conversation, when I asked Coach Quinn on Monday about the communication, right? This is something that I know they were working on. It's something that, he's mentioned it. We've talked about it directly. It's been happening in practice. So why is it so bad?
It was really bad on Sunday.
Oh my goodness. Really I just couldn't figure it out. I'm like, well, why? But why? Why? And it doesn't, I don't know why, but I'm just like, this is a regression point, and you gotta really figure out what's going on right now. And even from things that are working. Now, if I do go look at the offense a bit, because hey, they scored 27 points. That's pretty good. I can't believe it. Matt Gay made all of his field goal kicks. Good.
Hallelujah.
If he hadn't, I was leaving. I was like, I just can't.
And he was leaving with you.
I was like, I don't know. But you go back to, well, thank goodness he made those field goals, but the field goals be 7.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Right. And in areas where they could have ran the ball more, run it. It worked. And I understand, with Bill and everything, and remember he was nursing an injury last week.
Yeah.
He was dealing with an injury last week. So he played, he was in practice on Friday.
Right.
Hey, listen, C-Rod had a big run. Just let him keep running it. Jeremy Minute, just let him keep running. I know why? Because they're not game planning for those two. The game planning for Bill.
Bill,
just run it. Just
Bill,
run it.
He a bad boy though, Candi.
I think
bad boy. It looked different with Bill though.
Yeah,
every run looks like it could go with him.
It's his moves, and it's like one break and he gone. But if you just watch Jeremy McNichols get 5-6 people off of him the week before.
I don't need to see him in the Wildcat though, Candi. I don't need to see Jeremy McNichols.
It's just like
I don't need to see that.
But it's like whatever works, just do what works until it doesn't.
Let me ask you about Brandon Coleman. Did that surprise you 2 weeks ago when he was inactive?
Yeah.
Did that come out of nowhere?
So what I'll say is I definitely knew that he was dealing with some injuries.
Yeah. You saw the shoulder in Green Bay.
That's right. So I knew that. But healthy scratches. If you want to take
from a starter to a healthy scratch, what?
If you want to go back to history, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks too. Sam Cosmi getting ready to come back. Sam Cosmi's getting ready to come back. What you gonna do? What's happening around here? What is happening? Healthy scratches. If you look back at the history, it's not a good sign. So I don't know what happened other than and like
wait, time out. Hold on. 30 seconds. Let me get a 30 second. Are you insinuating that
all I'm saying is
because guys that are healthy scratches, we start thinking about, are you even going to be here? Are you insinuating?
That's what happened last year. That's all I'm going to say.
It
is what happened last year. Now I'm not saying that's what should happen at all. What I am saying is that is what happened last year. And I'm not.
Did he do something to somebody?
I don't know.
Is his work ethic not up to par or something? Cliff did say he's gotta be better in practice, but some of that, it sounded like it was attributing it to him not being healthy. But
he doesn't have an injury designation, so
yeah. Wow.
So that's where I was going the first week.
Yeah.
Second week, I was like, whoa.
Okay.
So I hope that's not the case, but I'm just You know, I like to say use your clues. I'm just using my own clues from
Yeah.
last year. And I was just like, well.
Oh, okay. Wow. That is.
And I hope that's not the case. But once you look at it, right? I mean, you can't even be a backup.
Right. Like, you got to be inactive. At first, I was like, they're just sending him a message. He's going to be active next week.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. Nah. Okay. I'm with you. We here. I mean, I'm picking up what you're putting down. That's wild. I just did it. This man started every game but one last year because of a concussion. Like, I just didn't see this happening. But I will say Chris Paul is playing well. Surprisingly well.
And all of their starters last week played 100% of the snaps. Also, keep in mind, I think Nick Allegretti was down to like 1 snap.
Yeah. Yep. So. He was in on the 3rd and 1 that didn't that Chris Rodriguez did not get.
So, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So to that point.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
Yeah, no, that one that
I've been looking at, like, what's going on?
That's an eyebrow raiser right there. Okay.
It's raising my eyebrow. But I shifted my focus from who was inactive to who was active, because when I didn't see Kane on the inactive list, I'm telling you, I just had a whole
different mindset. Yeah. You thought you figured it out.
But I had figured it out. I was so proud of myself, Louie. I was so proud of myself. That was one of my proudest moments this year. It wasn't real.
Yeah.
It wasn't real.
They had faked you.
They definitely
had faked you. So now, seeing where they are at 2-2, I feel like this week they're at a crossroads, so to speak. It's like a fork in the road here, because, like you said, this is not like a must-win game, but it feels like a game. So this is, again, let me kind of set the table for my mindset. So I said that this is the first time in the DQ administration that we've had this team. Stands for week 1 against Tampa last year, where you fell to 0-1. They've never been in a position after that 0-1 start to be under 500, right? They won 3 straight after that loss last year, and then they were 7-2, right? So they were, even after a 3-game losing streak, you were still 7-5. And even I felt like every time there was some adversity, there's always been a safety net game waiting for you on the other side of that adversity. So, case in point, you lose in week 1 to Tampa last year. In week 1, who's waiting for you at home? The New York Giants. You're able to beat them with 7 field goals, right? I don't know how many teams you're beating in the league with 7 field goals, but you did, right? So last year you had the 5-game losing streak. You're reeling. You need one. You need one bad. Who's waiting for you on the other side of that? The Tennessee Titans at home, right? And if you needed another one for good measure, you go on your bye, you come out of the bye, and who's waiting for you on the other side of the bye? The New Orleans Saints. Just so you can get some mojo, right? That wasn't a great game in the second half. You almost lose, but you don't, because it's the Saints, right? I look at this season, week 1. Let's let you get off to a fast start. Who's waiting for you? Home, Giants. Let's get you off to a 1-0 start. We did not play well, but it was the Giants. So you get you a win. You lose in week 2. It doesn't look good. You're disappointed. It's adversity. Who's waiting for you on the other side of that? The Raiders at home, right? You get your stuff off. You get back on the winning track. You score 40. Everyone's feeling good. You go on the road and you lose. This time, for the first time in the DQ administration, you have a chance to fall below 500. We've never seen below 500 other than week 1 against Tampa last year, right? So we don't do sub 500 around here. Next, this is not at home after adversity, and it ain't no safety net. This is a team that on paper is better than you in the Chargers. You're going to their building, even though we might have more fans there on Sunday than they will, but doesn't matter. It's still a road game. Technically, you still have to leave the confines of your comfy home to go out on the plane. Are they leaving Thursday night? They talking about leaving early. You know when they're leaving?
Thursday.
They're leaving Thursday after practice?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're leaving early. So, you know, you're uprooting everything. This is tough. This is adverse situation. And like you said, it's not getting any easier. You got Monday night against the Bears. They're coming off of a bye week. You think they don't want to get back from last year? You don't think they got us circled on the calendar? You got another thing coming. After that, you got Dallas. They're dangerous, and we struggle with Dallas. You didn't know we struggled. We lost the Cooper Rush last year, right? Week 8, you got the I think that's the Seahawks, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Week 8 on a Sunday night. Then you got the
Kansas City.
You got Kansas City, I think, coming up after
Kansas
that.
City, Kansas City's after Dallas.
And then it's Seattle, right?
I don't know. It's all these weeks are running.
It's Seattle.
It's Broncos. Excuse me. It's Kansas City, and I think it's the Broncos. Then it's Seattle before they go to Madrid.
No. Detroit is in there somewhere before Madrid.
Oh, maybe Detroit instead.
I think it's Detroit is somewhere. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Way is not.
All of those teams are good.
It's not good.
The bottom line is it's tough, and if you don't win this game, it could spiral on you very easily.
Very easily. Very, very easily. Yeah, it's you know, going back to Atlanta and what you just said, you know, if there was 3 games, the division games, somebody always want to come after you. But Atlanta, Chicago, and Detroit are going to be out for blood because of how they beat them.
Yeah.
Atlanta got their lick back.
Yeah.
You have to know Caleb Williams wants his lick back.
Oh, yeah, of course he does.
Okay, at home.
Yep.
And you have to know.
And Ben Johnson is his coach. You don't think Ben Johnson knows a piece of this too?
Because so just hey, you know, it could get bad, for sure, quickly. Now everyone knew this season was gonna be much harder, and even talked about less wins, and rightfully so, right? But when you're looking across the division and you still see a Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 4-0, right? And you're looking at a Dallas Cowboys team who, yes, it's the Dallas Cowboys, but right now, who cares about what happens in the playoffs with the Cowboys, right? Who cares? Right now, today, Dak Prescott looks very good. He really does. I have to stay objective. He absolutely does. Now, the New York Giants are looking like they're football geniuses because the team that the Commanders have to play, they look like Jesus. Oh, put Jackson Dart in. Oh, wow, look, they just beat the Chargers. Right. So now you got to go across the country to face another mad team.
Yep.
You mad, they mad.
Yep.
But here you go. And so it's not an ideal situation at all, because like you said earlier, you would have thought it's huge opportunity, absolute perfect world, you're 4-0. Ideal situation, 3-1 going into LA. 3-1 going into LA. Because that way, if you lose, it's a game. Yep. Who cares, really? Now you got to face the Chicago Bears at home, Monday Night Football. Probably going to do your best to beat them because they're coming in there going to try to beat you.
Right. Now
you're in a situation where if you lose on the road, I don't know what this looks like anymore for people. Because Bobby Wagner is the person who got them out of the 3-game losing streak
last year. Yep.
Single-handedly. And that's why I'm like, okay, everybody, I know people are not pleased with what they saw on Sunday. Understood. But what he means on the field and play calling abilities, and even at the line of scrimmage, like I can't forget about what he has already done in this season at the line of scrimmage and what he does for this team in general. He single-handedly got them out of that rut. Dan Quinn won't even take credit for getting them out of that rut. But because of Sunday, now we got to watch who's going to lead the leaders. because it's some tension around here.
I think that Joe Witt has to bear the responsibility of that. You're putting him in that position. You're putting him in that position.
In a bad. Hey, I said it. I was like, they getting put in a bad spot right here.
I think Marshawn Lattimore being put in some bad spots too.
He's getting put in some bad spots, and he's getting put in some bad spots. Who covered Drake London last year? I mean, that's just go back and watch the film. Just go back and look at it of what happened last year, and it actually don't. Because if you do, it made me even more. I don't like being confused. If you haven't known, I really don't like being confused. It's like this should not be a puzzle for me. It should not be a whodunit. And why is this a whodunit all of a sudden? And I'm like, I don't like this. It doesn't feel good.
Right.
Because it doesn't even look like it makes sense. It doesn't look like anything I've seen. So you're not outsmarting me. You make you look crazy. And so it's just like I don't know. And I know that it's gonna be really tough. And it's a lot of teams that are priding themselves on how they bounce back from adversity. And I'm just not sure. I think it really does have to be rooted in this coaching staff getting back to what does aggression look like, and Dan Quinn demanding that. Mm. This is what you do. This is what you do. And that's it. They gotta, because you can't even say they played a hell of a game on Sunday. You can't say that because that's not what happened. So while we may get on scheme and putting in bad spots, you do have to make your tackles.
Yeah. Joe Witt wasn't good, and he didn't put his players in the best position, but even when they were in position, i.e. Von Miller for a tackle for loss on Tyler Algier. And again, people get me. I saw John Keim ranting and raving about the fact that people are calling the defense old and slow. And he's like, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, no, they're old and they're slow. They are. Von Miller 3 years ago makes that tackle. Von Miller at 35? Sorry, not sorry. Tyler Algier's like, you're not catching me, old man. And then outruns everybody to the end zone and runs over Jeremy Reeves and gets into the end zone.
Yeah, it would have to beg the... Because he doesn't get in, he doesn't play that many snaps anyway. Vaughn doesn't. Yeah. So it becomes again, don't overthink it. Match speed for speed. It can work. And unless there's something wrong, unless there's legit something wrong and going on over there. And these are your best options for these situations.
That's the thing is we don't have a lot of options.
Exactly. And so I'm like, people could get hurt and everything, but hey, that's football. But until you put them in, I can't tell. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And if the communication is off, it didn't look that bad before. That's the first time we've seen it look that bad. And I will even say, even with the personnel that was utilized on Sunday, it should not have looked that bad. And I would even go a stretch to say, age aside, it should not have looked like that.
Can you? So tomorrow is it's my favorite day of the week. It's coordinator day. It's coordinator day, right? As I love hearing from the coordinators, right or wrong, whether I agree with them or not, I want to hear what they got to say. And I'm locked in every day to the press conferences, but I'm really locked in on Thursdays on coordinator day. Somebody has to ask Joe Witt Jr. about that 3rd and 2. You know the 3rd and 2 I'm talking about, where they run a bunch. They had the bunch early in the game on the first possession.
Right, I'm about to say, you talking about that one?
No. I'm talking about the one where to set the table, the first time they ran this bunch on the first possession, Bijan is open for a touchdown.
Yeah.
He is wide open, and Penix doesn't see him early enough, tries to get it to him late, and he doesn't get enough on it. It's touchdown. He's wide open. On the TV, on the TV copy, you hear JJ Watt, who's calling the game with Ian Eagle, say, Bijan. He's screaming Bijan, because he's so wide open, right? And all he did was they motioned to bunch, and he slow plays it. The first two guys in the front go out, run their routes, and he just come off slow, and then he just ran a little wheel route up the sideline. He's wide open, right?
Right by Mikey.
They ran the same thing this time though. On third down, they run motion to bunch. Bijan just slow plays it. The two guys at the front of the bunch go out for their route, and Bijan just hooks up at the sticks. It's 3rd and 2, Candy. It's not 3rd and 12. It's 3rd and 2. The closest guy to him is Bobby Wagner at about 9 yards of depth.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been. Exactly.
I need somebody to ask Joe Witt Jr. what the hell is going on. What was that call? Did somebody mess it up? Was that the bad call? What? Because the communication was so. I just need answers.
I don't know what happened. I mean, it was many of those, right? And so going back to that point of what you just perfectly described, now everybody's going to expect Bobby to have caught him. It ain't happening. Ain't nobody catching him for real. Ain't nobody catching him.
On that play, Bobby's at. So on that play, it's zone, and Bobby's standing like 10 yards away from him. He's watching him.
Yeah,
but it's like, who was supposed to be there? There's no way there's a coverage where there's a but. First of all, just by alignment, they were outflanked, and there was no way they were covering that.
Nobody was covering them.
Somebody got to ask Joe Witt at the press conference tomorrow.
I don't know if they're gonna ask about that one, but like
somebody got to ask him about it.
It happened often. It was almost like
that was the most egregious one though, Candy. But, like you can't explain that one. I need that's why I just want him to tell me that somebody made a mistake. So I feel better. I just need him to tell me somebody made a mistake. He's not gonna tell us who made the mistake, but he'll say, oh no. Somebody didn't do their job.
Well, last week I asked him I went back and I don't know, you said you watched the presser. So I asked him, I said, can we go back to those 9 explosive plays over the last 3 games? And he smiled at me.
Yeah.
And
but he went through and he told you.
He definitely went through it.
Right, he went through and told you which one.
I definitely had to pull back once I saw him smile, because I was like, all right, friends, and I don't want to piss nobody off. I do my best not to make nobody mad. So that's why I had to give myself time to figure out what I wanted to say. That's why I jumped in and said, you don't have to get no secret sauce. But what is it? But if you go back and you listen to what he says, you can go back and find those three plays that he talked about. And it said, okay, you can figure out who
the culprit was. Yeah.
Now, here's what I'll say. Somebody on the Falcons was watching tape, because it was clear that those non-explosive plays, all they did was replicate what had happened in the first 3 weeks.
That's what teams in the NFL do.
That's all they did.
And they copy. It's a copycat league.
Same thing.
I give you a great example. One of the
players over there.
This was crazy, Candy. So on that final drive, remember they gave up 3 third downs on that final drive to pretty much get into field goal range.
I should not have laughed that loud.
So that final drive was so frustrating.
I didn't watch the final.
You didn't what? You didn't watch the final drive?
Not till I
was your stomach hurting or something?
I had to go. You talking about the final drive of the game, right?
Yeah,
I had to go to a press conference room. I said, I'm not doing
it. I'm not talking about the Commanders drive. I'm talking about the Falcons drive.
The Falcons offensive drive, right? On the defense?
Yes.
Yeah. That
you went down to the press box before that drive?
Yeah, I said I can't do this because I knew it was coming.
Oh my
After
God.
the first third down, I said I'm going downstairs.
Candy, you have zero faith in this team.
I almost threw up earlier.
Lord.
And they already knew it was bad. I already knew it was. I just let me get down.
Candy after the first third down said, it's in the Lord's hands now. I'm going downstairs. I got stuff to do. You are terrible. You are terrible.
I mean, I'm honest because I said I watched it later, but I couldn't do it because it was just like it's not gonna.
No, Candy. You supposed to be like one of us. Like, nah, we gonna get this stop. Even though you know we probably ain't gonna get the stop.
No.
Oh my God.
Airport. I said I gotta get down here. And see, these are the stories, right? That's how I missed the Hail Mary.
I'm about to say you ain't learned your lesson. You talking about them learning from their lessons last year. You ain't learned from your lesson last year.
But when they played the Falcons in December, I didn't do that. I said they got him. When I saw Marcus go over there and talk to Jaden, I said, "Oh, Jaden he got the glow again." I made a joke. I'm telling my age.
Yeah.
That movie, The Last Dragon.
You got that glow.
I said Jaden got the glow again. He's gonna do it like the Lord.
Oh man.
Let's do it. And I was just like, I made a comment in the pregame, and I said, Jaden is not even here. He's not even in.
I didn't know that until today. I thought he was in the press.
All the injury players were there. I said, so Jaden can't save him today. So I hope the defense does. Is literally what I said. I knew the defense needed a strong showing. A strong showing in order for them to win that game because they didn't do well in December. And so I just was like, the Lord, yes, it's in the Lord's hands.
It's the Lord's hands.
And I'm
gonna beat the traffic to the press.
They be holding up the elevator. And
oh my God.
And see what happens. And then the crowd was so loud, the Commanders crowd, the Falcons crowd, when people started cheering, I didn't know who did what.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm fine with not knowing because
you ain't missed nothing. You missed 3 third down conversions and in excruciating fashion.
It was just like and I watched it later, so I didn't watch it in real time, but it was like they just gave up. And that I don't know what's going on.
None of us do. That's why I can't wait to hear him tomorrow. You know what though? He's gonna be pissed tomorrow.
Oh,
you remember how ornery he was after the Green Bay game, and how chesty he was, and man, he gonna be in one of them moves because that's the worst. Again, that's the worst play calling I've seen from him. It's the worst tackling. That's the worst tackling exhibition I've seen from this defense under Dan Quinn. It was the worst communication I've seen. And again, this is the thing, because so many people just like, this defense sucks. I don't think this defense is as bad as it was last year.
It's not, even with the injuries. It's not. And so
that's why it was so surprising.
I understand everybody is really, really super upset about Sunday, and rightfully so. But that's why it's upsetting, because they're not that bad. Yep. And that's what would make you think, what's wrong? Is everybody getting along? Is the Brotherhood still intact? Everybody's still friends? Because they're not that. They're not.
And that's what I keep trying to tell the fan base, because they ain't trying to hear it. They think this defense stinks.
That's that right there. That defense is a 0-4 defense right there. That's not.
So I've been trying to tell them, Candy.
They have not played like that since we've seen them together.
Yeah, that was rough.
They haven't played like that since we've seen them together.
So you're heading into this game against the Chargers. What is your expectations for the team this week? We're assuming that John Bates is going to be back. He practiced in full today. We assume that Jaden's going to be back. He practiced in full today. He's going to be playing in front of the home crowd. You could tell how excited he is that he's going to have a fam in attendance for this one, and so he's going to try to show out for the hometown crowd. What is the sense you get being around the team today? I know you'll get a better sense maybe tomorrow, but what are you feeling right now? Is there a bounce back, or are you a little bit like kind of skeptical as to how they're going to perform on Sunday?
I want him. Well, hopefully, I won't know till if Jaden is officially the starter for Sunday, which is the anticipation.
I'll go ahead and I'll go and jump out on the limb and say he's going to start on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just have to say that.
Yeah, you don't have to. I'll speak for you. Don't worry.
I just have to
in your
say
place.
That.
Yes, right.
That I have to say that, but
right.
I just want him to be okay. I want the knee, the leg, all of that to be okay. And Jaden is electrifying. Jaden, he has that. No, go do it. No, we're gonna win. He has that. So maybe they need to feed off of that Mamba mentality. Like, no, let's go. Maybe they need. They need somebody. They need somebody to get them out of that. And I thought they had it. I thought the Raiders game was a perfect setup and segue to, okay, Jaden doesn't have to play. They're going to be fine in Atlanta. And they weren't, unfortunately. And so I think everyone needs to realize where they are. And now it's October football, right? So that's what I asked Coach.
Yes, DQ did today about October football.
September. I'm gonna give you a pass on September. There ain't no passes in October. So they're gonna have to have an excellent month.
And it's some tough games.
And it's gonna have to look like what you say you want. Right? If what you say you want is Super Bowl, if that's what you say you want, understanding injuries, you all, because now with Javonte Jean-Baptiste on IR, who was doing well, like this is like, oh,
hey, how you doing, Preston? You ready?
Preston, I hope so.
All right, let's go.
You look immaculate when you come into the game. He be game day ready. His outfit, he be.
I saw you post about him. I saw you post about him.
So whoa, so it's like, all right, the game day blitz fits be in full force. So they gotta be ready to roll. And it has to be convincing. It does have to be convincing, because that's one of the things they did talk about during the offseason, understanding that a lot of people thought that what they did last season was just luck, or it was just certain things, And I'm like, this has got to look like you want to win this football game, and you got to look like you're playing to win and not playing not to lose, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. Like play hey, but you play angry. Even you got to play angry. Now play smart, because a lot of these penalties don't make any sense either. Because a lot of times when they're trying to move forward, here they are with ridiculous pre-snap penalties. And so they have to really make it convincing. The defense, I mean, whatever their goals are, they have all these margins that they go by. So like the defensive margin, these takeaways, you need to get at least 3. You get at least 3. Okay, Matt Gay, keep making your field goals, but special teams,
Candy, wait, time out. Let me get a third. Did you just say 3 turnovers in a single game?
Oh, that's the goal. That's been the goal since last year. They have a tackling margin thing. I don't know if I'm telling secret sauce right now.
No. I always talk
about that. It's at least 3. The goal is 3 takeaways.
How many times does they hit that in a game?
None. Detroit.
That's it. That's the only game I can think of where they forced 3 turnovers in the game. That was like what, 5? Like,
it was 5.
They don't do that, Candy. They're on pace this season to force 4 whole turnovers. 4.
Right. But that's why I'm like, somebody better do something. You can't change your goal. So
no, you're right. You're not wrong. I'm just like, did you say 3 turnovers in a game?
That's what they said. That's what they tell me. So I repeated, and I'm like, well, where are they? If that is what the goal is.
Yeah, with DQ, to his credit, every week he come up and be like, we gotta get turnovers, man.
That's why
he said we had a drought. He said we officially are in a drought, and I'm glad the drought is over. But man, can we just the ball was on the ground. Every time it's on the ground, we never come up with it.
You know you're supposed to pick that up.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is where, to that point, right? I'm going to go back to Sunday. Mm-hmm. I could have conversations with people about those moments. People didn't want to talk. Yeah. They were that mad.
Do they normally talk in those situations?
Me, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm being honest. Me, yes. Because I could be like, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You didn't see that football on the ground?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Off the record, like, you didn't see that football on the ground? I'm not going to record this. Like, you didn't see it? And they be like, look, man, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And they gonna tell me, all right. Now I was like, not right now.
Yeah. Oh, it was like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some people still did talk, but others like,
right.
Because they knew if I'm coming after a loss, I'm coming to ask you something very intentional.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be insensitive.
Yeah, obviously.
But I do. Once I start out with can I ask you something?
Right. they know what time it is. Candy Crush time.
Yeah. Like, let me ask you something. Let me step into my office right here. What? Yeah. Did you not see him coming? That's why you missed the tag. What happened? I mean, and if we really want to keep it a buck like we always do, Jalen Lane had 2 drops. He had 2 drops on returns.
Oh, yeah, he did. You talking about muffs. Yeah. I was trying to think of the 2 drops it received. No, he fair caught one and went right through his wickets, and then he fell on it. And then the other one, he got lit up. He got lit up as soon as he caught it. And they threw a flag initially, then they picked it up. But I
was like,
I think like we got to block better on them punt returns. Like I think that was Antonio Hamilton. Like he's getting cooked up, or was it him or was it Tyler Owens? I think it was Tyler Owens.
It is interesting that the day they didn't have a great special team showing in that regard, Percy was out.
Yeah, I swear I was going with that. I wasn't going to say it at first, but I'm like when as I kept talking, I'm like, I'm thinking that's a big Percy Butler thing right there.
He's super fast. You know, but they got other fast people, so I'm not sure what's going on. Again, I'm not saying it would have worked, but I would have liked to have seen an attempt. Mm-hmm. Just to see, because I don't like when I don't like when I feel really smart and then I get confused. Tim's very upset.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I did think it was K Madrano time because I've been waiting for you all to see him. I've been waiting to see him, you know, because that's one I've been following. And Louie, you and I have talked about this, and I told you one of the position groups I have been tracking is linebacker. I told you that back during the summer.
That's right.
I said, you all hear me asking about players in that position. Week 1, I asked Joe Witt about linebackers and what he was expecting. He mentioned Bobby and Frankie, and right now, and then I don't remember what he said about Jordan right now at the moment, but he said the younger guys, they'll learn.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I wasn't surprised by seeing them inactive for that time period.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it was interesting because Ali got on active before Kane did. Right. But and I've been asking religiously about that group.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. Because I'm like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I thought I had the answer, and it made perfect sense in my mind. But that's not what happened on Sunday. Meaning, what are you going to do with the faster running backs?
And I'm expecting somebody to ask him about Bobby. He's going to shoot it down. Like he's made it clear last week. He made it clear. I like veteran players more than young players.
Absolutely. And I understand that too. And I still understand, like, Bobby took 100% of the defensive snaps last year. He could still take 100% of the snaps. He just doesn't, the assignments weren't conducive to what he does well. And when you're down injured players, you're down Will and Percy. So mix it up with those positions and what they would be doing. You don't, in my opinion, make Bobby go do.
Yeah, no.
What they would do.
Yeah.
That's where the challenge becomes. In my
opinion. They don't take him off the field and they don't alter their play calls to acquiesce to what he does or doesn't do well. So the problem is, like, we saw this last year. If you remember the second game against the Eagles, he was running up the sideline with Saquon. It was an underthrown ball by Kenny Pickett that he had to slide down on the ground, and Bobby was able to dive.
He was able to dive and get the ball right. So he ends up banking on a mistake, which works.
It worked that time, but y'all were there in New England for the joint practice where he got beat by the rookie Travion Henderson. He just dropped the ball.
But he definitely but again, that goes back to when you're talking about true speed. I get the strategic logic and the intellectual logic, because now you're talking chess, right? But sometimes just match speed for speed. It can work with certain people, not all. And that's the challenge, in my opinion. Because even in that regard, where was Will? Where was Tyler? Where was somebody else? I bet you don't have to have. Now, did is it Travion or is it Trayvon? Trayvon Henderson. He dropped the ball. Absolutely beat Bobby. But I guess Bobby scared him. I don't know what happened. Because I was standing right there, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Of course, but he dropped it, and I was like, "What did Bobby? Did he say something to him? Whatever." Just doing, he was on his heels, of course, something, but he dropped it. All right, but is that what I would? That's not what I would have done. I mean, you do have to look at the speed part of it. Now, when he's at the line of scrimmage, absolutely, in my opinion. Against the run at the line of scrimmage, okay, if you got him in coverage, all that, no, I would no, I wouldn't. And he's your play caller. He's your play caller.
Yeah.
Now, I have absolutely seen in some areas where I'm like, if that wasn't for Bobby, this would have all been screwed up, because they listen to him. They're really attentive to him, the defense, but it's just. They gotta switch that up.
Biggest disappointment to this point in the season has been what?
Probably that, right? Not Bobby. It's where's the depth? I'm not seeing on the defensive side of the ball, other than defensive end, because I saw what they did with Javonte. They brought him in. I have not seen the answer for Will Harris. I've not seen the answer. I mean.
We questioned the safety position. They love their safety position.
Well, yeah, and we've been asking about. That's another group that I've been asking about. Asked about that in May.
Yeah,
right. But we saw Will, and I think there's still something. But something is. I don't know. I love that they're pulling Revo in more to the defense. Now, that is something that we heard them talk a lot about back in May, and they've done it. That is material. They're doing that and getting Jeremy Reeves more engaged and involved in the defense. But
he's not a coverage safety though.
No.
He plays well playing downhill towards the line.
This goes back to, is Kane more of a Frankie Louvu or a Jeremy Chin? And if that answer is not, if no one knows the answer to that in week 5, then something's going on. Figure out what that something is.
Yeah.
Because that should be answered by now. In my opinion, it should be answered. Yeah. And why is Tyler Owens? There was so much about Tyler Owens last year, right? So much. Tyler can't get any defensive snaps. What's going on with that? Because he is a safety, for sure.
Yeah.
We also got to remember Dominic Hampton didn't work out at the safety or the linebacker. Nobody's picked him up actually either. So
yeah.
So and one of the things that I have been tracking, and I'm all of the things that have been objective. Okay, if things aren't working out, what's going on here with the picks, with the roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be some questions there because I asked those questions back in May, and it's October now.
Yeah. People starting to dissect. I think it's still a little early, but people starting to dissect these draft classes. You know what I mean?
Well, I tell people one thing that's running under the radar is that they released a draft pick from last year.
They released one.
Brandon Coleman has now been a healthy scratch for
a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
Luke is starting to play well, so that's good.
Let's go, Luke.
Hey, Lukey, baby. Look at Lukey getting out here getting it done, man. So that's a good sign.
Sarah still, I asked about Mikey. Okay.
Yeah, Mikey was struggling a little bit. And remember, me and you talked about this.
Yes.
Last year, the first 2 weeks before he swapped over to Boundary, he was struggling in the nickel. People just said, well, it was young. He was young. It was early in his career.
Well, Coach just told me the other day when I asked about him, well, we had him at the nickel on Sunday. I'm like, that's why I wasn't trying to, some things is like, I want them to say it. So I don't have to say it. I'm not,
I don't think they're using him correctly.
I don't know what happened. But this goes back to, what is he best at? What's going on?
And you got to do is go back and look at what he did at Michigan. And you'll see what he was best at. He's supposed to be used like Kenny Moore, like Mike Hilton, guys that blitz and play around the line of scrimmage, underneath coverage. Every now and again, you can put him in man, but he's supposed to be more active and blitzing. How many times have we seen Mikey blitz?
Yeah, I'm not real, listen, I'm an advocate for all of these guys. I'm an advocate for every single last one. But when it's like, okay, I'm watching objectively and this doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that I'm putting a lot of the onus on Joe Witt to make these pieces make sense, to put them in the best positions to succeed. He's not doing that to me at a high enough level, and I need him to figure out what is the best way to use Marshawn Lattimore? What is the best way to use Mikey Sainristil? What is the best way to use Frankie Louvu? What is the best way in utilization of Bobby Wagner? If you can't figure these things out, again, to your point, this is why you retain staff, so that you're not starting over with a blank slate. You're building off of the things you did last year. Mm-hmm. The only guy that is in a different position than he was last year is Mikey Sainristil. So maybe you still have to figure out how to use him. But everybody else was here last year. Everybody else played in the same spot that they're playing in last year. You got to figure out now how to maximize these guys with the moving parts. Yep, you brought in a Javon Kinlaw. Yep, you brought in a Jacob Martin and a Von Miller. And you got all these moving parts. Dietrich Wise was supposed to be here. You still got to be able to utilize 2 all-pro linebackers from a season ago. Like, why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? Those dudes were mugging the A-gap. They were blitzing. They were attacking the line of scrimmage. All of a sudden, now they dropping in coverage all the time?
They should. What are we doing? And you said it right there. You had 2 all-pro linebackers. They didn't just turn sorry overnight.
Right.
They didn't just turn. No. And that is where I'm like, okay, everybody. I know everybody's pissed off from Sunday. It wasn't good. It was all bad. But these guys, they didn't just say screw it and don't want to play anymore or something like that. Is something, is it clicking? And if you want to build on what you did well, again, this goes back to anticipating. You got to be proactive about getting that smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you are. Everybody going to try, but you got to make them stand on business on who you are.
That's right.
And do the things that you do well. And that's right. It was quite bizarre. It was like you being too strategic. Like, oh my man, you do this and do that for what?
Yeah.
And so it's what they do well. Do it well and keep doing it, because now it's too many. It was too many people on defense that were exposed negatively.
Yeah.
In that game.
Yep.
And it made no sense. Like it wasn't just Bobby, it wasn't just Marshawn, it wasn't just Mikey. It was a few.
Quan?
It was Quan. Quan wasn't. I mean, it was that was looking bad. Yeah. And then there were moments when Deron wasn't in the game, and I was like, okay, wait.
Oh, talk about it. Talk about it.
The week that Deron Payne just had, what is he doing on the sideline?
Kinlaw too. I saw too much of Eddie Goldman and Johnny Newton in the game.
I wasn't doing too well. That was another moment I don't think I was doing too well in. Because I was like, what is Javon? This is when I had the binoculars. I need to start bringing them as a prop so y'all can see how he acted in there. But I was like, what is Javon doing on the sideline?
Yeah, he was on there way too much for me. He was on the sideline way too much. It was a 4th and 1. They went for it.
And he was on the sideline.
He was on the sideline like they running the ball here. The personnel they putting on the field. Javon Kinlaw needs to be in the game right now. I don't want to hear this nonsense about we roll with a deep crew and all. Man, I need my best players in the most critical situations. You had a chance to take points off the scoreboard, and you got Javon Kinlaw sitting on the sideline. I get it. Eddie Coleman had a nice play on a 3rd and 1 that stopped them. They got to stop on. That's cool. I still want Javon Kinlaw in the game.
I want Javon Kinlaw in there.
Yeah, that's cool, but I still want Javon Kinlaw in the game.
Yeah, it was the mix and the match was like, this isn't. Who said this was a good idea? I don't know. And so it was interesting. Not with Bijan. There's certain running backs and certain personnel you can play that game with. And I think I was like, going back, you like press conferences. The opening statement by Coach Witt last week was immaculate. I thought it was
he was in a good mood. So he gave you a ton of information. He jumped in there.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm like, he knew and knows the personnel. Larry said he tried to look at about the weaknesses that Bijan Robinson had. He has none. I agree. I mean, everything that I wanted to make sure I wanted to hear him say, he said it. So I'm like, okay, they know who they're dealing with.
Right.
And he even mentioned Michael Penix and some of the plays that he did on them last year. Like he mentioned it. He knew. So I don't know. I don't know. And then,
like I said, I think he just tried to outsmarted himself.
Wrong? Did they get confused on the headset? Were there some plays called wrong? Could have been. It was something going on.
It's gonna be interesting because he's gonna be pissed off tomorrow, and somebody's gonna ask him a question that he doesn't like, and he's gonna get an attitude, and he may come back and apologize like he did the last time. But look, you weren't good this week, and there need to be tough questions. And I want to see what his response is because it's fans already calling for this man's head on a stick. I don't agree with that whatsoever. It's too early to be. It was
one really bad day.
Yeah, it was. But this is the thing.
How many times have they lost now total? And that's
7,
good, right?
7 in the regular season.
7 in the regular season.
8 total. Yeah.
8 total. So 7 in the regular season. It was one really bad day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it one really bad day. And so just,
well, they wanted his head on the stick last year because the defense wasn't good last year. And you got to understand that the personnel just wasn't there last year. I thought he did a really good job given the circumstances. We just didn't have talent last year at all. This year, you asked for this talent. You asked for these pieces. You said, you told us in the press conference, I wanted Javon last year. Okay. So you got some of the guys that you wanted here, right? I'm pretty sure he advocated for Trey Amos. You advocated for Marshawn Lattimore when they asked you, hey, would you want us to trade for Marshawn? Damn right, I want you to trade for him. He advocated for these dudes.
I'm with Marshawn, this is, again, I'm an advocate for all of these guys, but it's, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it's, you think you're going to get a penalty. You think you're going to get hurt again. I don't know what's going on. But at the same token, everybody knows it's like the rule of thumb is if you're disruptive at the line of scrimmage, it helps everybody else out. And they just were not at all disruptive at the line of scrimmage at all. And I could not figure out why.
Candi, I've been talking about Marshawn Lattimore, and his superpower, right? His superpower is he's a press cover corner.
It's press cover corner. Yes.
Not playing off, not playing zone.
No.
Press cover corner in your face, delete the airspace, putting hands on you, disrupting the timing of a route, because Michael Penix is a rhythm thrower. So what he wants to do is he wants to get to his first read. Most quarterbacks do. But Penix will hang on to that first read a lot longer if you disrupt the timing. We didn't disrupt anything. We gave free releases. We let them run off the line of scrimmage, and he didn't have to make reads. He didn't have to go through his progression. His first read was open most of the day.
It was open every time. He had time. They had time to settle. They had time to settle down.
Yeah, it was frustrating.
It was frustrating to watch because you needed Michael Penix to do what you've seen already other quarterbacks do, and it's run for his life.
That's it. We didn't pressure enough. We didn't pressure enough.
Here's the thing: the same 3 Falcons, they haven't changed their personnel. That's all I kept saying. I was like, they haven't changed their personnel. Who doesn't know that all they got is Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London. I mean, they had other people get involved, but those three, take them out.
Pick your poison.
Everybody can have a good day,
right? But that's the thing is like maybe Bijan gets you, but Drake London and Kyle Pitts
ain't gonna get you exactly.
Right.
I can't stop everybody, but daggone it, Bijan, you're it. You won't be getting none today.
Right.
Drake, good luck. You know what I mean? It's got to be somebody.
They let all 3 of them get them.
They let all 3 of them get it. They really did let them all have a good day.
Yeah. It was really disheartening. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, get a word from one of our sponsors, come back on the other side, get to some comments so we can get Candi out of here. See y'all on the other side. Sleeper is the best way to experience and connect over sports together. It's a one-stop shop for all of your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat in the games in real time with other users, get the fastest scores, blazing fast news and alerts right at your fingertips. Play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports the way they were meant to, together. Download the #1 sports app today. Predict the hottest football stats like passing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy football skills. Use promo code LTN and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Sleeper. All right, so let's get to the comment section, see what you guys have to say. If y'all got any questions that y'all want to have Candi address or just some comments that y'all want to throw out there, use the hashtag LouieTLive. We'll get to a couple of those before we get out of here. We do got a super chat, though, from Video Channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Video Channel, writes, Candi, why can't this staff figure out how to get Hall of Fame practice player Jordan McGee on the field?
I don't know. I have been asking about Jordan since last year. I remember when, he was on IR and then he was designated to come back. That was right around week 5 last year. And so he's been a special teamer, right? He dealt with the injury because they ended up putting him back on IR after the Tampa Bay wildcard weekend game. And, he had some time out back during the summer, but he's there. He's been there. And so that's one of the, got to find out, got to see what's going on here. Because we understand, special teams aces and special team players, but people can do more than one thing, at least for a few reps, at least for a few downs, right? So that is a for sure open-ended question that we got to get to the bottom of.
Do you think that he is any closer? Because when he was drafted, it felt like he was the heir apparent to the linebacker position. It felt like he was supposed to be an understudy and an apprentice to Bobby in his rookie season. Bobby was supposed to take him under his wing. He was supposed to learn from him. And then this was a 1-year deal for Bobby, and then Bobby would exit stage left, and Jordan McGee would slide into that role seamlessly. This is what it felt like it was supposed to be. And then he got hurt last year. He really didn't play. And so it felt like they were hitting the reset button on that, and that they were going to kind of maybe do that this year. And I wonder too, I always ask myself because sometimes success as early as we had it can be a gift and a curse.
Absolutely.
And because we won last year, there is no time for the development of young players during the season because we have aspirations of doing something really big, right? If we had won 7 games last year, been 6-11, 7-10, you're trying to play young players. You're trying to get those guys on the field and get them developmental reps. You just went to the NFC Championship game. So in your mind, I don't have time for Jordan McGee to be figuring it out during a game. How do you get him the reps? How do you give him an opportunity? That's why in our minds, we're like, Bobby doesn't have to play 100% of the snaps. Like, he can play 90% of the snaps. If you know you're calling man coverage, like, you can't put Bobby in that predicament. If you're going to play man coverage, either you're going to have Bobby out of the equation where he's a blitzer or he's a non-factor in this play in terms of being in coverage, having to run with somebody, or you can't put him on the field, because that wasn't a hard play to defend. The Falcons literally ran everyone to the left. Bijan isolated him to the right and made Bobby sort through traffic and then just threw him a swing screen. Just out of the backfield. Like, if I'm playing against the Commanders this week, you know what I'm going to do with Amari and Hampton, the rookie running back out for the Chargers? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take all my players, run them the opposite way, run Bobby in a swing screen, and see if Bobby can keep up with my rookie running back, which I know he can't.
Yeah. You know, I don't think it was that, because Jordan has been in for some defensive snaps on other games, and it may not have gone so well, is what I'll say. However,
okay.
Again, now enter Kane, right? Like I still, okay, that might be a Jordan thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like there's not still an answer or another option, in my opinion, right?
Right.
Because this is why you drafted a linebacker last year and a linebacker this year, right? And so I'm like, I'm gonna still kind of go to the draft classes of options. Because maybe somebody did miss a read, maybe somebody did miss maybe they did.
Mm-hmm.
And but okay, you should still be able to get after somebody. You know, the calls should not be that complex, if that makes sense, as well.
Mm-hmm.
To just get after somebody speed for speed. So I am eagerly waiting for Jordan McGee to get out there, but I'm equally as eager as a Kane Madrano, because I'm trying to see what's going on here. Because there's some gifts and talents that some people have. I mean, the same can be, to be fair, the same can be said for the tight ends. Right? I think the only space maybe where they've gotten it down is maybe with the running back room, right? And how Coach Lynn has prepared that room, and look how they're still performing without an Austin Eckler, right? There isn't a dip. So in these groups, from a safety to a linebacker to a tight end, you might really have to figure out, and we can even say maybe even the offensive line doesn't have that dip. Why is there a dip in these position groups, right? Of who you can depend on when it gets thick. So this will be interesting, because again, if we're talking about a build, that's what a build is. But you got to build other people in also. And I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to me because I'm gonna not to defer from the question about Jordan because I simply don't know. It's something that I've been watching because I've been trying to figure out where do we see the second years come in? Because we go back to Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Well, then he was the backup for Dietrich Wise.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't starter.
Right.
He got hurt. So it's something that I'm watching closely of why the draft, some of these draft picks are not getting in. And now, are we seeing a regression in Mikey? What happened? What's going on? Mikey, Brandon Coleman, what's going on? Right? Yeah. It's something to be, we got to figure that out. If this is a build, we should be seeing these players get better.
Absolutely. And I get the whole different position, this, that, and the third. They kind of used Brandon Coleman not being healthy and getting the reps he needed as an excuse. But ultimately, I remember draft night when he was drafted and Adam Peters called him and he said, "You're going to help us on this line somewhere," right? They didn't know he was going to be a guard, a tackle. You're going to help us somewhere. And I thought he was more naturally suited to be a guard. And to see him be out of the mix this quickly is crazy. And that means they're not happy with something they've seen from him, whether it's his work ethic, whether it's his attention to detail, whatever the case may be. You can't just be frustrated with somebody because they've been injured. And maybe you can because maybe that's what happened to Jordan McGee. He ain't never healthy, so we gonna stop putting in all this time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
because you go back to the point I made, right? So you had a wide receiver in both drafts. Mm-hmm. You've had a linebacker in both drafts. You've had an offensive lineman in both drafts that you've done. Look at who's starting. Look who's even getting on the field. Mm-hmm. I think those are important points and kind of like clues when I talk about use your clues. Everybody needs to really be looking at. Because John Bates getting hurt. Okay, that's how Ben Sinnott is getting active in these games. Mm-hmm.
And he still ain't catching the football.
That's my point.
He's still not throwing him the ball at all. Exactly. And he was drafted as a pass catching.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not just seeing this at the linebacker position. It's several different spots that you're like, okay, so is Zach supposed to do this forever?
Right.
Is Bobby supposed to do this forever? And it may be, so that it's something. It's something to look at for sure. Again, Dietrich Wise doesn't get hurt. You don't see Javonte out there.
Yeah, not really.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's so. Has Johnny emerged as your starter in that role in the position?
No. CT Sains, thank you for being a member of the MOBB Mob. You know what it is. Stand up, you in the building. Mob show CT Sains some love. Welcome to the mob with love. Welcome to the squad, CT Sains. Glad to have you on board. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, "What's good, Lou and Candy? I don't disagree with all share, but since week 1, we haven't had a healthy squad. No excuses, but overreaction. My opinion, it's week 5. Let's get healthy, then be critical." So I get that assessment, but this is the NFL and everyone's dealing with injuries. You have to find a way to navigate that. And you don't get to play the "we're not healthy" card in this league because this is not like the NBA. It's not like Major League Baseball where you get 162 of these, or you get 82 games. You get 17 of these, and you don't know which one of these could be the reason why you do or don't make it to the postseason. And so, like a game like last week, for instance, you needed to find a way to win that game. And when you have all the backup players, when Chris Moore is playing 70% of the snaps in a game, at the receiver position and you scored 27 points. Mind you that the offense left meat on the bone and could have scored 40, but let's move that aside. They scored 27 against a team that was second to last in the league, averaging 14 points a game, had scored no more than 22 points in any of the first 3 games this season. This was a team, Michael Penix, as a starter, 0-4 when the opposition scores more than 7 points in a game. The 2 wins that he had in his first 6 starts were when the Giants scored 6 and when the Vikings scored 6 in week 2 this year. So when you look at the opposition, you look at the team you were playing against, they were struggling and you needed to find a way to win that game. And so I get why the fan base is upset. I get why there's disappointment. You got to understand this too, DCJ. And I'm going to let Candi take it after this. This schedule, we looked at the schedule and we said, this is the softest part of your schedule, for lack of a better phrase. You're not going to get another pocket of the schedule where you look at it and you say, we're going to be favored in 3 out of the 4 games. And again, we couldn't assume that Jaden was going to be out. You're just talking about looking at the schedule when it first came out. You say, okay, no worse than 3-1 out of the gates with the teams that are on the schedule. And then after that, it's tough game after tough game after tough game after tough game after tough game. You got to figure it out. But you got to get off to that fast start so that you build up a little bit of a cushion so that if you do have a 2-game skid, you're not sitting here at 2-4 or 3-5, right? Like we used to do under Rivera, where we would fall 4 games under 500 and then try to dig ourselves up out of a hole. You want to be able to be playing from ahead, not from a deficit. And that loss, like Candi said earlier, if you're 3-1 right now, you go to LA and you lose to the Chargers, you're like, all right, man, that sucks. Similar to how you lost to Green Bay. That's a good team on the road. We'll bounce back. We're 3-2. We're okay. You lose on Sunday and you're 2-3. It feels a lot different than 3-2. So what do you say to that, Candi?
I think that with that Falcons team, 27 points should have been enough.
Yeah, facts.
To win the football game. And the fact that it wasn't is bad.
Yep.
That's bad. That's bad.
That's what it is.
Because yes, absolutely, they are injuries, and we talked about that. And I'm like, yo, but it's still hard without knowing why you had healthy bodies on the sideline that could have contributed. Why didn't they contribute? What is the issue there? And so that's what it kind of feels like. Yes, injuries matter, but there was still enough there to not have had the Falcons score 34 points for certain. Like that shouldn't have happened at all. Not at all.
Right.
Even with, who is out on the defense. And they got to fix that quick because teams out here scoring points. So, and it's, and I keep seeing the stuff about old, and I'm like, y'all, there's young players. The question isn't about getting young. There, you gotta. It's why aren't the young guys playing?
They don't trust them. I can't answer that for you. They don't trust them.
Right. And so then that becomes if the young guys can't be trusted, then at what point does the people who bring in the personnel get questioned? That is where it comes down to. I don't think everybody understands and knows just how young the team actually is. That may not be the people you see starting, but there are young bodies over there.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't they in week 4? A month into the season, why aren't they in? So this schedule was going to be harder, and there was always the potential that they would win less games
and still be a better team.
Because I think the roster is still good. Are they outstanding and great? No, but they're good. It's terrible. Right. And what everybody watched on Sunday is not the Commander standard. It isn't.
Right.
We have not seen that yet.
Mm-hmm.
We had not seen that. We had not seen that display. So it's really going to be like, what happened there? And here's the reality. I'm going to say this, and this is going to be a huge stretch. They can't have another game like that. The defense can't have it. That needs to be the worst game the defense played all season.
I agree.
And that's a lot to say, but they cannot, because guess what? Again, the score is a lot closer than actually I feel like the product put out.
Yeah, I never felt so. The Green Bay game, I never felt like we had a chance to win. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt we were completely out of the Falcons game. I kept waiting for something that Candi never thought was coming, and maybe I should have been in my candy bag again. And I kept waiting for a stop that wasn't coming, right? Yeah, because we never had the ball with a chance to take the lead. We had it with the ball with a chance to tie the game at 17-10 to start the second half, and then we settled for a field goal. Right. But then they went every time we scored, they scored. It was never a time when we scored and they didn't score, except for when it was 17-7. We got a field goal, and then now we got our first stop of the game right before the 2-minute warning. But then that speaks to our lack of aggressiveness at the end of the first half, not trying to go for points and go get in the field goal range. And then we scored a field goal to start the second half. They scored a touchdown, back up 11. We went down. We got a field goal after I think Mikey got a pick. After we threw a pick, Mikey got a pick, and we cut it to 8. They go down and get a touchdown, right? 31-16. Then we go down and we score a touchdown. We get a 2-point conversion. It's a one-score game. I'm thinking we could go beat these chumps. Get a stop, get the ball back, go score, and you might even go for 2. I don't know. How you feeling about it? Then they got 3 straight third down conversions, and that was it. Got the field goal.
That's unacceptable, because the reality is on Sunday, Marcus, in my opinion, Marcus Mariota, that offense, much more that could have been done there as well. Like you said, they left some meat on the bones there, but guess what? I think they gave you enough to win.
Oh, of course, they sure did. I said this
enough to win. When
they could have scored more, but they gave you plenty.
They gave you plenty, and had to come back.
Mm-hmm.
They were still playing catch up and still was within reach.
Yep.
But you just said we can't do nothing with these people. You just said I can't do nothing. Yep. And you know, it just go back and look at the draft picks, look at how they've drafted, and we got to figure out, I think it is, why aren't those key contributors?
Yeah.
Go-to contributors in these games.
Yeah. At some point, you got to start playing your young guys. And I'm not saying you got to play all of them at once. No, and look, they're getting some of them out there.
Yeah.
They're getting some of them out there. Obviously, Connerly's playing. Trey Amos is playing. Jalen Lane is playing. And Bill is playing. So 4 out of your 5 guys out of the draft class are playing.
Your people this year, they all playing. You got to figure out what happened to last year.
Exactly. And that's where a lot of people are right now, is that without Jaden, that draft class last year, it ain't looking too good. If we being honest with each other, because we were expecting a big, like, we were looking at Mikey as the equivalent of Jaden on the defensive side. Like, he was supposed to be like one of the key contributors, one of the anchors of that defense. We can hang our hat on every week. We hang our hat on, and we know Jaden gonna hold us down. And Mikey was supposed to be the equivalent on defense. We know Mikey gonna hold us down every week, and it just hasn't been that this season. Right?
No, Mikey had an extraordinary camp. That's something that I've been watching, you know, every day. I think I came on here and talked about Mikey Samuel, and I don't like when people make me look wrong. So, but I mean, that's selfish of me to say. But at any rate, it's just I'm not seeing it in game, and I'm not sure what that's about. I mean, I think it's position centric. Right, so use them what you did last year.
Yeah,
you know. So it's I see it coming here, and like I said earlier, one of the draft picks from last year got released after preseason game 1.
Yeah.
Brandon Coleman now a healthy scratch 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
Mikey not having the greatest season. Luke is he on the come up.
Right.
Right. You saw Javante, he wasn't starting this year. They brought somebody in, right? Now he's going to IR. Ben Sinnott, we haven't actually seen him, materialize into Zach Ertz.
Right. And the problem with Ben Sinnott is he's a second round pick.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like there's some other questions here that it's like, well, the team is too old. There's young guys here got to figure out why they're not getting in. That is the big question mark of what's going on here, everybody, because that is a key question that needs to be answered, and nobody knows yet.
I'll say this too, DCJ. You said let's get healthy, then be critical. How do we know we're ever going to be fully healthy this season?
We have no idea. I mean, the way that this is starting out from a team, from a Commander's perspective, a league perspective, that is just like, this is just a crazy amount of injuries so far. This is insane. The injuries that are happening across the league. Not sure what that's about, but you got to go out. I mean, but this is also a message they've been talking about is how much they work, the depth, all of those things.
DQ always talk about 70 guys. We got 70 guys, and we don't tell them, don't prepare for if you play, when you play, right? That he talks about that all the time. So
somebody mentioned my question to DQ about moving Mike. All I'm saying is, and I asked it delicate, you switched him up a bit. What's your assessment? You think you're going to send him back? I don't know. Let's try to lean off of that because I know there's some secret sauce to what they do too and how they use their players. But I can see, and so can all of you, so can many of you, and I just want people to be where they are most effective. Yeah. And you 4 games into the season, hey, look, this ain't working out too tight, and so that's all. And it's all I'm saying, just pay attention. Just look at how the players are getting used, where they're getting used. If they feel like they're putting their best players forward.
DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Pooh Rights. I want to speak ahead to next week. Yes, tough game, whether JD5 plays or not. He's playing. He's speaking that into existence. He's healthy enough to go. We see the brace. We know it exists, but he's playing on Sunday. He says skins match up better to what the Chargers do as a team. I agree with that. Says again, gotta come and play. Same thing I shared last week. Another team off an embarrassing L. That is the part, and I don't know which is better. The Chargers were coming in here undefeated and maybe smelling themselves a little bit, or they're now pissed off because they lost to a previously winless Giants team. And now they're looking for some get back, and we're the next team up on the schedule. So I do think their style of play does fit us, and the injuries that they have currently on their offensive line plays into our favor, because that is our strength of our defense is the front. And when we've dominated up front, weeks 1 and 3, we've dominated the game. When we haven't dominated up front, weeks 2 and 4, we haven't dominated and won those games. So this one feels like one of those games where we can have our way up front against a banged up offensive line for the Chargers, because Joe Alt's not going to play in this game. Rashawn Slater's out for the season. They already had some struggles on the interior. Mekhi Becton is coming back from a concussion. Will he play? Won't he play? Don't know. If he doesn't, that's another issue inside. Really like what we can potentially do on the defensive line against their offensive line. But again, got to execute. Can't make silly mistakes. Can't have penalties, negating plays. We've had intentional grounding in 3 out of the 4 games.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, we can't keep doing these things to ourselves. And it would be nice to force a couple of turnovers, or as Candi says, 3 turnovers in one game. That seems like that happened in an alternate universe. Like 3 turnovers in a game? What? You can do that. That's allowed in the NFL. You can force 3 whole turnovers in one game. That's crazy. So
I took it literally. So
no, you didn't do anything wrong in that situation. That is just to hear them talk about, like, one of the things I think as fans we expected when they came was that they were bringing turnovers, takeaways with them. Because DQ, when he was in Dallas, no team had more takeaways in that 3-year stretch than Dallas did. Joe Witt Jr. came from Green Bay, and he had experience with DQ in Dallas, and everywhere that Joe Witt had been, takeaways had followed. So it just felt like, oh yeah, it's on now. We finna take the ball away. Even if the defense isn't great, we're gonna force turnovers. We are the same no turnover forcing team that we were under Jack Del Rio. Nothing has changed. It may have even gotten worse.
I don't even know.
We are on pace for 4 takeaways this year, Candi. Through 4 weeks, we have 1 turnover. 1. The Jaguars have forced 13. They have 9 interceptions already.
And
we have 1 takeaway. 1.
I think they didn't have an interception last year until like week 5 or 6.
It was against the Ravens. It was whatever week we played the Ravens. That was Mikey had the interception off of Lamar Jackson.
Right, but I think Dante got off the Browns, right?
So I don't know if they called
Dante had a pick 6.
That was against Carolina.
Was that Carolina? I mixed them all up. Yeah, okay.
I don't know if they called the play where Frankie caught the ball that Bobby forced. I think that was more of a fumble on Deshaun Watson in week 5 against the Browns.
That's probably what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about that play.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that was a takeaway. Right.
Yeah, but our first one came against the Giants in week 2 because we did this exercise last night. Came against the Giants in week 2 when Benjamin St. Juice punched the ball out and Jeremy Chin recovered it. So it's even worse this year.
Well, I mean, I guess Deron had a forced fumble, but that's not the same as a takeaway.
Yeah, no, we forced a fumble in week 1 against the Giants, and we just don't recover them.
First one
we never recover them.
Yeah, the first one was Mikey, and then I don't know. I was like, Mikey, run to the end zone, go score a touchdown, but that didn't happen.
No.
You know, a desperate team is a dangerous team. I said this last week. I will not waver from it. So I'm going to say what I said last week. Oh, you about that life? You really feel like you about that life? Well, then go ruin lives. Go and ruin lives in Atlanta. Go and ruin lives. That's not what you did. Okay. So I'm going to say the same thing for LA. Now I'm kind of like, well, let's just hope all of Jaden and Bobby Wagner's family show up. They're definitely going to be there. You know, I let them all just.
So let me ask you this. DCJ brought this up. Who's the more desperate team? The Commanders or the Chargers?
The Commanders are definitely the more desperate team.
I feel so too.
They definitely got to play angry, but smart. Play angry but smart. I don't know. Find an animal. They talk about wolves and stuff. They talk about being a wolf. They have all these analogies. They have all these stories, and it's like get back into the stories. Get back into the wolf and the wolves and the hunters and all the things that resonated and shaped who you are and shaped the Commander standard, and do that. Terry's injury doesn't help. A lot of things don't help this situation right now. But you gotta, and now this right here feels more adversity than the 3-game losing streak did. And I think that's because the 3-game losing streak last year, nobody still cared. Outside is what I'm saying. Outside. Inside, yes. But it was still like, oh, well, there you go. You know, the Commanders, first year, rookie quarterback, blah, blah, blah. Nobody was still checking for them at all. Now they are. And so teams are playing you like that. They're playing you like you matter. And they brought their best selves to the table, and you did not. And so you have to do that every week. And so they have to travel across the country angry, thinking about all the tackles that they missed, or maybe the calls that didn't go right or were miscommunicated, or whatever the case may be. And try not to do that again, because I do not think the sky is falling.
Right.
I do not think the sky is falling at all. However, if they lose on Sunday, it will
start to feel like that.
It will start to feel like the sky is falling.
Yeah.
And what they said they want and who they said they are is not true.
That's my mantra this year. If you are who you say you are, prove it. Prove it.
Yeah, and that this doesn't look like a team that's trying to prove it right now.
That's what they got to be on Sunday.
A team or a coaching staff, because I'm not.
I think I asked you earlier, what was the biggest disappointment to this point? I think it's been the coaching staff for me. I think it's been the coaching staff. They didn't, for them bringing every single coach basically back and having that continuity was so important this offseason, and everybody talked about the importance of that. And the way they coached last year, we felt like we had an advantage every week because of our staff and the way this team was over-prepared. They were over-prepared for every moment. It didn't matter what it was. You know, they had hired the guy out of the NFL front office. It seemed like we were good on the rules. We were so good in situational football. One of our biggest problems with the last regime is we sucked in situational football. You know, when we had to have it, when it was time management, when it was fourth down decisions, when it was anything that pertained to being prepared for any and every situation. Even the Hail Mary last year, getting to 12 yards, like the Bears weren't prepared. They backed all their players up, gave us a free 12 yards. We don't reach the end zone. Jaden doesn't reach the end zone without those 12 yards, but they weren't prepared for that moment. We were, right? It just seemed like we were always ready for everything. The end of half situations, the end of game situations. We were 9-3 in those close ball games because we were prepared. DQ talks about the Mamba mentality moments where you're down 2 scores. You got to rush down there and get the field goal, call your timeouts on defense, get the ball. We did it against Dallas. We were prepared for that. We went down, got the field goal quickly, got the timeouts, got the football back, went down, and obviously 86-yard touchdown. Nobody expected that with no timeouts, but it happened, and then the field goal kicker misses the extra point, of course. But we were prepared for that moment.
Yeah.
We don't seem prepared for these moments. We don't seem as aggressive as we were last year. We don't seem to be. We have more talent. And yet I feel like we're getting less out of the team this year. It felt like they squeezed every single drop of talent and ability out of that rag that felt so dry last year. This year, this is a damp rag. You can get more out of it. And they're not, I don't feel like they're squeezing the rag and getting everything out of it. So I'm very disappointed in the staff right now.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I'm just gonna keep saying, like, it's bizarre because we are used to whatever you hear them say, and that's one of the reasons why I go back and listen to the press conferences and play press conference clips when I do my show, is because I want to make sure what you said last week about this team, I want you to look like you did what you said, or what you said you were going to do, or that you were aware and you were prepared, like you said. And this doesn't look like preparation. It looks like, now this week could potentially look like week 3, right? Where you're angry, you're mad, you feel some type of way. Like I said, it's hard for you all to get over a loss. So that you feel some type of way. You let your team down, let your fan base down, you let Marcus down, whatever you're thinking. I'm just throwing everything out there. You let yourself down. So now you got to go across the country to make up for it. And you just got to beat people convincingly. And this just hasn't been very convincing. It's too hot and cold.
Yep.
Without a consistent like they're really getting after it. They're just gonna really get after it. And you know what it reminded Sunday. Here's another moment. Remember in the NFC Championship game where Saquon just had that big run, and it was like the defense just got defeated immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like that with Bijan. Like Bijan just went and just took all of their souls, and they just let them. He just let them do it. They're just letting them do it over and over and over and over again. Like that's what it felt like for a moment there. Like you just can't recover from getting punched in the mouth. You have a hard time from recovering to get punched in the mouth. And now you're just playing who's the smartest person in the room when you're like, just beat them. Like, just go. And, the Falcons weren't doing anything tricky. No. The Commanders were doing tricky things. And it
trying to, at least.
Yeah, they tried, and it backfired. It backfired really bad. So I don't. It needs to be better though on Sunday. It needs to be mistake-free football, complimentary football for about probably the whole season. And this is definitely something we haven't said in like forever. It's like the best unit is the special teams.
Without question.
This is special teams. Coach Izzo got the memo.
Yeah.
Coach Izzo got the memo.
Yeah.
And he's acting accordingly with his group and with his unit.
Yeah.
And
it don't matter who play. Like we talked about Percy Butler being out. Next man up, right? Whether it's Colson Yankoff making tackles, is Luke McCaffrey making tackles, is Jeremy McNichols making tackles. It don't matter.
They be knocking out everybody on the other team, special teams, don't they?
They lost about 3 dudes on Sunday.
Every game, they knock somebody out, and the Commanders players just get up and walk.
You saw DQ when Ale Cajo hit Agnew. He went.
Yeah,
DQ loved that, man. So the special teams has been by far and away the most consistent unit outside of Matt Gay. And then Matt Gay, so the running joke with Matt Gay is he enjoys kicking indoors. That's when he's at his best, because remember, he played with the Rams. He came into the league as a Ram, and then he played with the Colts, and he kicked his best years kicking came with those two franchises. They both play indoors. So he was outstanding. It happened to be indoors. We're indoors again next week. So let's see if it continues, and maybe he gets to be a little bit more consistent. But hey, I'm not comfortable with him having to attempt 4 field goals.
No,
those need to be touchdowns.
That's right. I agree with you. Those need to be touchdowns.
Yeah, without question. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. DCJ, right? Skins went on a losing streak, still made the playoffs. The door this year is wide open, more than last year. Just got to make the dance healthy enough. You got to get there first. You know what I mean? Like, we can't take for granted that this team is going to be in the playoffs. As much as I would love to say, and this is why it's important to not lose games to teams like Atlanta, because again, you want to stack those wins to put yourself in a position where you're not having to fight late in the season. Do you know how good it was for the Commanders to beat Atlanta last year in week 17 and not have to play their starters? They still played them because, as Terry McLaurin said, it was important to go into the playoffs on a win streak, not going in with a loss. But if they wanted to, they could have rested their starters. They were already in the postseason. You want to put yourself in a position where if you need to rest guys, you can. And so every loss puts you in a position where you're going to need to go even harder at the end of the season. So I hear you. And I'm a big advocate of just get to the dance, especially when you see what Jaden Daniels did last year. Anything's possible. Just get in. He went to the number 4 seed. He went to the number 1 seed and won. So it's possible. You just got to get there, but it's no guarantees that you get there. We gotta play better. We gotta play better.
Yeah, they gotta play better. And just like you said earlier, the strength. You're so strong at the defensive line. You did so much to beef up this defensive line. Get after it. You want to hunt? Send your best hunters out there off the rip, off the break.
That's right.
Your best hunters out there every time until you say, all right, switch them out, get the young guns in there. Cool. You know, whoever is the, you know, in mix things up, be strategic in that way. Impress me more with sending some hunters at them that they don't know and they don't recognize. Wait a minute, who is that one? Wait, whoa. You know, just because to me that it was there was some mystique in mystery about the Commanders last year. Right? You cannot expect these other teams not to be prepared. You just can't. And that's what it felt like. It almost felt like last week. I was like, they took that 30-0 score seriously? You know, because that's what you acted like. You acted like you took this low scoring team seriously. You know, oh, they ain't even gonna score that many points, so it don't matter. Marcus will get us up there, and you know, it's not even gonna matter. That's what it felt like. And I was like, I would hope that's not what happened. Right. But that's what it felt like. When it's like, get down to what you know, it's like you plan for your identity. Well, you don't know it. You helped shape it last year.
Yeah, we thought we had one. It feels like we
don't know.
We don't right now.
And it's like, I mean, it's like, well, Frankie is out there. Yes, he's being treated like a big, but Frankie is faster than some of these people. So why is he okay? You know what I mean? And sure, nobody wants to get a pre-snap penalty or get a you know, face mask or, you know, roughing the passer penalty or anything. But you gotta, you know, again, Deron Payne, after the week he had, after, you know, it was, you gotta let them roll. It was what they're good at, what they're great at. And unfortunately, I want to go back to the thing with Marshawn. It's like right now, things are so confusing. You haven't really see, you know, it's, well, what is he good at? It's exactly what you said, right? But have we actually seen him put in those positions where he can be most successful?
That's the question. Let me ask you this. Did you interpret this as a shot? A lot of people, when after the Green Bay game, Marshawn was asked about did Green Bay do anything, you know, special? And he said, no, they just ran man beaters. We just played man the whole game. Was that a veiled shot at, did you take it as such? I know there were fans that felt like he was taking a shot at Joe Witt Jr. Like, we didn't do anything to mix it up. We just played man and they ran man beaters.
I mean, I don't think he was trying. He wasn't. That's just how he talks. So I don't think it was. He answered the question.
Yeah. And okay. I didn't take it like that, but I know a number of fans who have asked me like.
But I do want to go back to this point though, of because in that game as well, when offensive players were asked about the Packers defense, right? So this kind of leads back to Sunday. Every time everyone says the same thing, which is they didn't do anything that they didn't expect. Seemed like they already knew what they were doing. Right? So it was like they got out schemed. They already knew what we were doing. They already saw us coming. They already knew. So it was like, that's telling. So now it becomes they are more prepared.
And that's what it's felt like this season, to be honest.
Yeah,
at least in 2 weeks 2 and 4, they felt like the opposition was more prepared.
They were more prepared. That's all.
And that's scary because that's, again, I hate to harken back to last season, but that is not what the narrative was last year. So
you never knew what they were going to do.
Yeah. That's frustrating for sure.
Yeah, it is, because that's why I kept saying for Sunday, I was like, they didn't do anything different. Why were the Commanders so different?
Yeah. Right.
So
it's gonna look. this is a big game. I think we can both agree this is a big game, one that they really need to find a way to get. I don't want to know what sub 500 feels like, and I don't want to see this fan base.
No,
because at 2-2, oh my God, Candi, if you would have experienced what it was like after the game on Sunday, oh my God, you want to talk about the sky was falling? The sky wasn't falling, the sky had fallen, all right, and it was touching earth. Okay, it was mass pandemonium amongst the fan base. Fire Joe Witt. Do this, do that, get rid of this guy. I mean, they was firing assistant coaches, fire the D-line coach, right? Like what did Daryl Tapp do, right? Like they wanted everybody's head on the stake. Pitchforks and torches were out in full force on Sunday after the loss to the Falcons. I do not want to see what it looks like if they don't get it done on Sunday. So pray for us, Candi.
I don't either, and listen, and to be fair, you found out something about me tonight. You said, "Oh, you didn't watch that last drive."
No,
and I maybe I should have said anything, but I went ahead and told her. I said, "Oh, I didn't watch that."
Yeah.
But I have a tendency. Now here go my tendencies of I'm not watching the rest of this.
Oh my God!
But they didn't make me pay for it. So now
no, they did not.
They didn't make me pay for it getting up.
Didn't.
So
I'm so over you for that, Candi. You can't have zero faith in our ability to get a stop. To get
I back. Enough. I was like, I just no. And I was with him until that first third down.
She was like, all right, let me get my stuff. I'm going downstairs. I'll see y'all later.
Press conference room and just look at everybody.
Yeah,
and let them look at me or not be able to look me in the face straight because I'm gonna be like, can I talk to you for a minute? No. Okay, all right. Talk to you Wednesday. And so it's just talk to you on Wednesday. Ooh, I know how y'all are when you lose. So and like I saw, it's how Javante, so I knew that was bad, and so it is. So it's just rough. It was hard, and I don't want them not with Jaden and Bobby going home.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a big motivating factor. I hope it's a lot on along the lines of, and I get it's not the same exact thing. But I hope it's along the lines of Arizona with Cliff last year when they gave him the game ball and they were like, we ain't leaving, we ain't leaving here without somebody getting a game ball. And he gave it to Cliff and everybody went crazy because they were in Arizona and it was against his former team.
It's got to be a game that gives them the juice. And I thought the Raiders game would have been it, but it wasn't. And I was even making jokes like, you got to put Jaden and Noah and John and them on the sidelines. I understand why they not and why they weren't and why they didn't travel, of course, because they got to get ready and they got to be in recovery. But I'm like, Jaden Daniels is the biggest Commanders fan in the world. When he's on the sideline, he is a ball of fun to watch. He's so turned up on the side. When he's not playing, when he's not in, he is lit. He is so turned up off life and like cheering on his teammates. He's having a blast and he's just talking to it's like watching a kid watch their favorite football team play. And he made that comment about Marcus last year. I think when I asked him, he said he couldn't really believe it. And he was like, it was like I watched Marcus Mariota when I was a kid. And now I'm like, he's legit that happy. And I'm like, he brings more light to them than we realize. Now, I don't think that's the reason why they didn't win on Sunday, to be clear. But I'm just kind of like, pull in all of the things because they need it. And I don't know what a below 500 team looks like for them either. And so it's like, if there's a team that's got to give them their mojo, their juice, and that's for everybody, the coaches, and maybe they need that energy from the coaches. Do what works for your guys, and get them. Be where they're most successful. It feels like somebody's holding back, or they're not sure, or it's just a weird feeling on defense. Like, what is that? What is that thing with y'all? The same level of confidence isn't there.
Right.
Consistently. It's just not. I don't see it. I'm like, you know, when they stepped on the field, it felt like they could not be beat. They didn't. That was what the story I told with the Cincinnati game. When I'm like, do y'all think these lights are for y'all? Do you think all of this is for you? This is for the opposing team. They didn't care. The music was for them. The lights were for them. You got to own this. And that juice of I own this place isn't there.
Right.
I will say that directly. I have not felt that same, we about to, I can't wait to get in here. It's a little different. They still believe in themselves, but it's like a quiet swag, and it's like, no, go ahead and be loud again. It's okay. It's all right, because that's a part of who you are. It's not big-headed. You're just having fun and you confident. It feels unsure, and I'm not sure why it feels unsure.
Well, I can tell you feel a lot more confident when 5 is on the field. So
that could be, that's what I'm saying earlier. I'm like, that Cincinnati game, that was Jaden. Because I was sitting up there like, that was the first, that, I mean, for many of us, including his teammates, because I remember Terry McLaurin in the media scrum was like, 5 grew up tonight. 5 grew up tonight. Jaden was like, go for it. He was yelling and going, and it wasn't like, I'm not looking at it from where I was sitting like, oh God, he's yelling and everything. It's so disrespectful. Oh no, I was like, yo, Jaden is not playing. He is feeling some type of way. He got the glow. He has the glow. And then that glow went to Terry, and it went to, it just went to other people. And it's like, but I know y'all got this glow. You have this glimmer. You have it. And I've seen it this summer. I've seen it at training camp. I've seen it in the locker room. I've seen it. Now it's like you being cool. And I'm like, why? For what? Now, I will say in Green Bay, I do think Michael Parsons threw them off a bit. I will say that.
No, he definitely did.
Parsons unexpectedly in week 2. I absolutely think because they consistently had an issue playing Micah.
Yeah, I'm just glad we swapped it out for 1 instead of 2. So
absolutely, that's the least you could do. Thanks for nothing, still Jerry Jones.
Right.
But at the same token, at least you could do that.
Yeah.
But they got to get that swag back that then forces everybody else to have the swag.
I think that's 5. I think you just described
swag. Then I mean, hey, if there might be, because I'm telling you, on the sideline, he is a boatload of fun to watch on the sideline. I was watching him in my binoculars, like, yo, I cannot take my eyes off of Jaden. I mean, he is having a good old time over there.
That's what he does. He brings energy, and the biggest thing is he brings belief. Because
he literally believes they can win every football game.
Every game. He makes us as fans. I'd say that all the time. We can win any game, even if we know we're outclassed. The other team has way more talent. If we got 5, we got a shot.
Yeah, he's in shock when they lose. It's like, wait a minute, did we lose the football game? And so it's still a lot of I'm fine. I'm okay. Okay, Jaden, go have a seat. You're not fine. All right. That's kind of how it was at the Green Bay. Jaden, you're not fine. Now he's walking around here trying to make everybody think he's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell he was defensive after the game when they asked him about his health. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, he was just pissed off.
It was a lot going on that night. And even afterwards, it was like are you okay? Don't look at me like that. I'm fine. Okay. All right. Won't look at you at all. Okay. I'm not looking. I'm staring right at you.
Yeah.
Are you okay? I'm fine. Until you're not. And so it's going to be interesting to see. And he's excited. You could probably feel his energy in the press conference today. Even the press conference today, you saw a lot of his personality. Teasing, one of the PR members about,
Charlie. Yeah, he was giving him work.
So
I mean, I'm wondering if Charlie gonna have to show up in some kind of outfit like he did last year.
Yeah.
So, it's gonna be interesting if because they had a little wager last year, and it sounded like they had a little something going again this year.
Now.
Yeah. So that was fun. It was fun to see Jaden having some fun at the press conference.
He looked happy. He looked okay. And DQ kind of said it today. You know, he's glad he had a year with him. You know, because he's hard having those conversations with a player, and I'm sure that's very difficult.
We joked. One of my guys, Rio, joked about how he knew Jaden had to be the most annoying guy the last 2 weeks because he wanted to play so bad, and he was probably lobbying. And I'm fine. I can go. I can play. And so you could tell like he definitely, because even last week somebody asked him about, what were those conversations like? And he basically was like,
he didn't answer it.
Yeah, he was basically like,
for good reason.
It wasn't, don't want the type of conversations I can share with y'all. Like what I said to him wasn't something I should be repeating out here, basically. Because he wanted to play. He's a competitor. He wanted to go. And today, even today, he kept saying, oh, I felt like I could have played 2 weeks ago. I felt like I was good enough to play He said that at least 10 times. I felt like I could have played 2 weeks ago. So you see where his head was already. Like he one of them dudes you gotta save from himself. You gotta protect him from himself because he would try to go out there. And I remember when he first injured himself in Green Bay, they wanted to pull him off the field. And he was waving them off. Nope, I'm good. Nope, just send me to play. Like he was not coming off the field. So
and they were losing at that. So
yeah.
Sometimes he knows when to be like, all right, let me go sit down. But that wasn't going to be one of those days.
Nah, not at all. Especially not being down like they were.
No, DC, I think they felt really good. I think they really thought they could win Sunday. But
yeah, no, absolutely. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Skins got a legit shot. We not the Ravens. Yeah, I'm throwing shots. Hey, look, they've been like a model franchise for the longest time. But to Candy's point, the injury reaper is out here snatching ACLs and hamstrings and pec muscles. And the injury reaper is not playing no games this year, man. And so the Ravens have been hit as hard as anyone this year. And it looks like they're in a pretty perilous state right now. No one had the Ravens being 1-3 to start the season off, and now Lamar Jackson's health is in question. They got Matabike out for the season, and Wiggins is injured, and Roquan Smith is injured, and like they just all kinds of banged up. It's just wild to see where they are, but it's gonna be interesting to see if Lamar can somehow, play, if they can, because that division isn't good. That division isn't good. So, like, nobody believes in the Steelers. I don't. At least I'm not going to speak for nobody else.
A lot of people don't. Yeah.
So,
it's still early.
It is, but they got a lot of injuries.
But they. I mean, 2 players they really do need.
Yeah, exactly. Be right. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Be right writes, wonder if Terry got the same injury Bo Jackson had. No. He does not. Like Bo Jackson's career was done after. Like his whole hip was dislocated. It came out. He talked about it popped out of the socket. His hip popped out of the socket.
When Terry got hurt, Terry knew he was hurt. Yes, but Terry stayed out there for the rest of the game.
Yeah, he went and got Luke's ball and he jogged over there.
Terry knew something was wrong, but he stayed out there for the whole game. But I have not seen him since that day.
Yeah. I think the cavalry will arrive on, I'm hoping, this is my hope, my fingers are crossed, week 6 against the Bears.
Gotta happen either Monday night. It's gonna happen sometime in October.
Yeah, I'm looking at that game because of the extra day, because it's a Monday night game, and I'm hoping that extra day gives them the confidence to work these guys out. Maybe you don't practice Wednesday, but then you practice Thursday, or you don't practice Monday or Wednesday or Thursday, but you practice Friday and you practice Saturday, and then they feel confident. Okay, these guys can go. Because I'm looking at Noah Brown, I'm looking at Terry. Those are guys I don't anticipate playing this week. Bates is back on a full basis this week, so that's good. Looks like he's trending in the right direction to play. Percy was limited. He looks like he's trending in the right direction to potentially play. And then Jaden obviously is full. So it feels like we're trending in the right direction. Cosme had his window open today, so that's great news. We'll see. Again, I had him circled for Dallas in week 7. But I'm in my mind now, I'm like, why I can't get week 6? It's an extra day. Why I can't get week 6? But I'm still saying it's probably Dallas week 7 for him. But why I can't get week 6 for him? Terry, Noah, all back the same week. That would be great on Monday night. And now you really starting to, get a lot of these pieces back at the same time. Maybe we can go on a little run here. That would be nice. But,
yeah, I'm gonna be lost for words. I'm gonna be like, dang. It was all good a year ago.
Yeah, everything was all good just a year ago.
So hopefully, I'm like, we back to week, and that's again. This is what things I say in the press box. This is why I keep it objective, because as soon as I started to care a little bit, like, all right, Marcus, they got you, Marcus. This is gonna be dope. All these Commanders fans here is loud, super loud.
It was like a home game.
That's why I don't care. You know what I mean? That's why I just be like, this is why I be like, whatever, let me just watch the game. Because I have to. That's part of my job.
Look.
And last year I was
y'all.
I'm just really happy to be here. Like I said, it was week 8. I was like, I'm not sitting here and watching this.
Bless y'all hearts for staying objective, because even if you're not a fan of the team, you develop relationships with these players. It's so hard not to root for these guys, because you see them on a daily basis and you talk to them and you develop these really personal relationships. Of course you want to see them win. You know what I mean?
It's difficult. I'll be very transparent with your audience. It's hard. It is. It's
I only imagine.
Difficult. And it is, especially with this regime. These folks they are warm and they are friendly and they care. And they are personable and they do all you all have you can be mad at them, but trust me, nobody is more upset than they are with themselves. So, the only, accountability and change is taking action and seeing that accountability, present itself on the field or, for a game. But they care about how we look at them and how you all look at them and how you view them. And that's why sometimes it's hard for them to have a conversation with some of us, myself included, because you do have relationships. Sometimes it's hard to talk to people when you to play pretty bad today. So, like you said, it's hard not, and sometimes we do catch ourselves, and it's kind of funny now in the press box when you kind of, now we joke with each other, like, no cheering in the press box. Don't be doing all that. Like, cheering with other people, like, you over there getting loud. Are you over there getting loud? And don't let it be like Ryan and Brian. So B Mitch and Santa, don't let all of them be in there at the same token, because then we all like, what's going on in here?
And they be cheering their tail off. Them guys.
They don't. It's just like, oh my gosh. But it's you want to see them do well. You do want to see them do well. Like I said, I did find myself being like, do this for Marcus. They had little Marcus Mariota jerseys all up last week, his Oregon jersey. So and they still got them up. So it's dope to see how they support one another in that way. And yes, when you have personal relationships with people, and at the same token, we have personal relationships with people, it's hard to see people talk bad about them, because you're like,
right,
no.
Yeah, I like I said, that's why I respect what y'all do, because it's hard to remain objective. It's hard to, be in that environment, and like you said, you develop personal relationships with these people there, and this is such a good group. And you know what I mean, to hear some of the things that get said. I mean, but again, fans are Yeah, fans are fans,
And
and they're gonna always be
oh,
fans.
please don't turn on them yet. Don't turn on them yet. My
Yeah,
goodness.
look, that's what fans gonna do. Like,
so it's just like, oh no. But I also understand, but it's hard. And then sometimes, especially with an away game, I don't home games, I just typically go to my seat. And if I'm being fair, and I'm being transparent again, if there's a former player, I do go and see that former player. If they're on the opposing team, I go and speak to the former player, check in on see how they're doing. Right. But at away games, we make sure we see, some of us make sure we see the team before they play. Like we go, we talk to them and see them and everything. And you see them when they coming in, they focus. I have a joke, depending on what type of suit Cliff got on. I know.
I saw you talking about Cliff. Like, I need that Cliff Kingsbury energy today.
Yeah. And so it's tough when it doesn't work, but we haven't really experienced the tough. I'm serious. Other than probably NFC Championship game, Sunday was probably the hardest day. I think the beat had, because we were all like, "What is this? I don't know." We were all kind of talking like, "I don't understand."
Yeah, the fan base took it just as hard as y'all did, because they did not take that. And I've been part of a lot of losses as a creator of content. I've seen this fan base deal with a lot of losses, been resilient. That one, for some reason, and I just think because they expected to win that game.
Out for sure.
I think that's what it was. They didn't expect the Falcons to beat us, and that really was not. And how bad the defense played. It was really bad on Sunday. It was really bad.
It was bad. I wanted them to run the football more though, but it was still bad on defense.
All right, so we got two more comments. I'm gonna play this ad one more time. We're gonna come back, knock these out, and then we can get out of here.
Okay.
Come back on the other side. Sleeper is the best way to experience and connect over sports together. It's a one-stop shop for all of your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat in the games in real time with other users, get the fastest scores, blazing fast news and alerts right at your fingertips. Play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports the way they were meant to, together. Download the #1 sports app today. Predict the hottest football stats like passing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy football skills. Use promo code LTN, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Sleeper. All right, so DCJ says, I need that military takeover defense going. Look, this defense, I don't think is going to be dominant this season, like consistently. I think they'll take advantage of the subpar offensive lines and some of the subpar. The question to me is more about this offense. Can the offense get back to being a ball control offense, a team that takes pressure off the defense by having more snap? Like this offense against the Falcons, we keep going back to this game. It was the most recent one. That's the first time I can remember in a very long time. I don't know the last game that we didn't have 60 offensive snaps in the game. Like, that's just not who we are. They beat us by almost 10 minutes in time of possession.
Yep.
You can't ask this defense to be on the field.
Nope.
Excuse me, that long. You just can't. So I feel like if the defense is out there less, they're going to be better because it's a better group than it was last year. But if you keep putting them on the field consistently, they're going to get exposed, I believe. So I think the defense is going to be as good as the offense is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I think I asked for too much when I said the defense having a strong game and they got to be the ones winning, to really seal the deal, and even who they are, right? And all that. But on Sunday, because that would have been a game to do it. For this defense to do it. That would have for sure been a game to do it. And they didn't.
Right.
So it almost looks like, all right, Cliff. All right, Marcus, JD5, it's on you again. You got to be it. And then if you get the special teams involved, right? It's got to be those 2 units out of the 3. And that, to me, that what was proven on Sunday, which is kind of unfortunate, right? Because you got to get on that complimentary football, and you got to get on it and really, really mean that. But it is legit. Like, the offense got to be hitting on all cylinders, and the special teams as well, in order for the defense to have real success.
I agree.
They're just not getting them the football back.
Yeah. Enough in short fields, because you're not forcing turnovers. Like that Mikey pick was great because it shortened the field, right? Gave them the ball at 25. They still didn't score a touchdown. And that's the frustrating part. If you had, like, people were saying after the game, Jaden wouldn't have even won that game. I don't believe that, because you got a Mikey Samuelsville pick to the 25. The Falcons 25. You got a Luke McCaffrey kickoff return to the Falcons 41-yard line. You didn't score a touchdown on either one of those drives.
Because if nothing else, and that's probably where the saving him from himself comes in at. Because if nothing else, his goon status gonna kick in, and he just gonna run.
And Marcus could have run in this game. He just refused to run the ball.
I think he was a little sore.
That's
part of the game, but like, yeah, he stayed.
I was so disappointed because there were opportunities for him to take off.
More opportunities for him to take off.
And I'm not used to seeing him not run. Every game he played in last year, he took off. And Carolina, Dallas, even the Raiders game.
It goes back to like mental, like, do you think you're gonna fumble again? You think you're gonna take off running and somebody gonna come and knock the ball out? Like, just go ahead and go.
Just take off, bro.
Just give it a shot.
Yeah, that was crazy to me.
We'll see what happens.
DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, us fans consider the Skins a good team this year, and JD is elite. Now facing adversity, don't fold. This is what we wanted, to face the best teams in the league. This is what we asked for.
I mean, Marcus says something, and this goes back to, and I've been thinking on this after the Raiders game in his post-game presser, and he said, we don't blink. And there were several times on Sunday where I found myself saying, so hopefully Commanders fans, take this with you. I know you said don't fold, but Marcus said, we don't blink.
Right.
So take that phrase with you, because I kept saying it to myself on Sunday. I was like, don't blink, don't blink, don't blink. And they were blinking.
Yeah, they was flinching and they were blinking.
It's like you are second guessing your own talent at this point. And that's not how you, in my opinion, that's not how you strategize. And that's not how you be creative. If you're now the hunted, make them pay for hunting you. Right? And use your assets to their strengths. That's it. Just do what you do well. That is it. And that's what probably made it so frustrating for so many watching it, because it was like, this is not what you do. And so, and what they could do and what they do have, well, you got 3 very serviceable running backs. Why aren't you running the ball more? Marcus, it is okay for you to run. Please run, matter of fact, especially with the short yardage. Go for it. Just go for it. Trust me on this one. And it's just like, things like that, even though my eyes were more so shocked with how the defense was operating. But listen, I definitely was sometimes like, why ain't they running the ball more? What is this? And so it's just do more. And you can. And it's just do what works, and you can still be creative, because I do like how they have been creative with John Bates being out in terms of blocking. They've definitely done some good things there offensively, but you just got to keep doing it. From a return perspective, I think every time you touch the ball, protect the ball, but make it a play. Regardless of what time it is in the game. Oh, it's end of the half. You ain't had to do nothing. No. Every time you touch that football, protect that football, and it matters. And And so, hopefully, even though we know Jaden's mentality, like people said, did you ever think this was during the preseason game? And I don't remember who asked him. It might have been Adam Kilgore at the time from the Washington Post had asked Jaden, like, did you think about
sliding?
It's like no, I didn't. Like Jaden already, no, I did not. Like he just did it. He's starting, and
he cut him off at everything.
He cut him off at everything. In his second season, he is starting to show his personality.
Right.
Like he's really starting to publicly show his personality because that's and we all almost said it in the room. No, he didn't think about it.
Right.
No, he did not.
Never entered his mind. I'm trying to score a touchdown, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's scoring touchdowns over here, and so it's just time. September football is over. It's October. Like I said, I asked Coach Quinn about that today, and so I want them to say, like Marcus said, don't blink. Well, we don't blink, so don't blink, and it just feels like they aren't sure of their own status. Like maybe the popularity and maybe the eyes on them, maybe you weren't ready for this moment, but you need to get ready.
Yeah, I got confidence that they gonna figure it out. But I told you that was the last PTSD I had, right? Was I needed you to show that you were capable of having success in back-to-back years. Because I haven't, as a fan, I haven't really seen that my entire life as a fan. Like 91, 92, 92, 93 is the last years that we've gone to the playoffs in consecutive years. And again, we haven't had back-to-back winning season, 10-win seasons since that same 2-year stretch.
If this team wins 10 games, I think that is still a very successful season.
Yeah, as long as it's attached with the playoff berth.
Oh yeah, now if they don't make the playoffs and they win 10 games.
If you 10-7 and you miss the playoffs, then it's not a successful season.
You gonna be like, dang, we gonna be home all January.
Yeah.
You told us to rest up.
Yeah.
Rested.
Yeah. Nah, I got confidence in this squad, man. I do. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. DCJ writes, Chargers got a legit O-line issues, at least for this week. Defense got to stand on business. If JD5 plays, I want the defense to dominate and win this game. They have issues up front for sure with injuries. They have concerns there. I would like to see the defense absolutely grind their run game to a halt. Omarion Hampton had his best game as a pro against the Giants last week. So he's getting into a rhythm. We have to shut him down. And again, you have to disrupt Justin Herbert. We can't cover their weapons. If we couldn't cover Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, what do you think is going to happen with Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to get into a battle with their receivers and Oronde Gaston, the rookie tight end who is starting to get involved in the offense. Like, we don't want those type of problems. We don't want that smoke. You have to get to Justin Herbert and make him uncomfortable. If he has time, he will be surgical back there, and we will have another repeat of Michael Penix setting a career high with 313 yards passing.
Yeah, it has to look like it did against Detroit in the divisional round when they got to Jared Goff early and often. It has to look like that, in my opinion, because you're exactly right. That's where the education becomes with the Chargers. Because yes, they do have O-line issues. Yes, the defensive line, absolutely needs to stand on business, and they need to make a product because Justin Herbert will have a time on Sunday at home because that's their home turf. Okay, that's their home turf. Yes, we know it's LA, so Bobby and Jay, hey, but we gonna upset your little homecoming, okay? Because their wide receiver core is very good. And see, this is a team we don't talk about, we don't hear about because they're in AFC, don't play them, but all these other, 3-4 years at a time, that will not be good. And if you are already, Mikey is on the injury report, we already are looking at, a lot of criticism right, on the defensive backs, whatever, it will be a long day. And if you see anybody in space or in coverage against a mark, that will be look. And so that's not, they got to fix that, and they got a short window to fix it, because this could go downhill bad. It really could. And while we may say, all right, you know, if they would have won 3-1, go over there and lose, no big deal. Well, but they didn't.
That's right.
2-2.
That's right.
And easily be 2-3 because they have a very good wide receiver unit over there. Even if this cornerback group was top tier, I would say it might not be a good day for y'all.
Yeah.
There's too many of them over there. You're outnumbered. You're outnumbered in terms of talent up against talent. And that is just me being strictly objective. I'm not saying anybody's bad, or I'm just being truthful.
Right.
And this will be a day where the offense must score touchdowns. If this happens, they must score touchdowns. These field goals are not going to get it.
Yeah.
You got to make if you got to, you know,
if you got to take a field goal, you want him to make it, obviously, but you would like to avoid kicking as many of them as possible.
Yeah, run it up and control the time of possession. I remember somebody asked me one time, this was probably about the Eagles last year. Oh, what do you do to stop Saquon Barkley at the Eagles? I said, keep him off the field. Keep them off the field. And that's how I feel about this game. Like, it could easily get bad.
We did that in the championship game in the first quarter, and on the first play, he ran for a touchdown. So
that's it.
That's 7.5 minute drive.
And I said,
and then the first play they get in there, and it's the touchdown. It's just like,
and that's what I always, and that's what Sunday reminded me of. Bijan punched him in the mouth he just got him. The whole offense, they just got him, and they just couldn't recover. That's what we got to see. We've seen the offense recover from adversity. We've not seen the defense recover successfully off adversity. We've seen the offense have to build the defense out because they had to run the numbers out.
That's right.
And so that's the challenge there with the defense. It took me 4 hours to get all that out. But I'm just saying, it's like but that's a problem when you want to aspire to be Super Bowl champions early in every year. That's your goal. And you talk about that being your goal, and you act like that's your goal. So Sunday could get bad. Nobody wants to see that. It has to emulate Detroit.
Yeah, they gotta affect Herbert. If they can't, they gotta stop the run and affect Herbert. If they can't do those things,
absolutely,
you're gonna be in a shootout. And we don't know if the offense is equipped to do that right now with all the injuries.
I don't know, because they still got many pieces out.
Right, and that's the thing. You just don't know where they are right now. Anyway, I can't thank you enough for the time. We've been going for over 3 hours. I really appreciate you kicking it with us for as long as you did tonight. Can't wait to do this again. As I always do, I have all your information down in the description of this video, but still, please tell the people where they can find your wonderful work.
You all can find me, and thank you so much for having me, Louie. This is always a great time. Thank you all for watching, of course. You all can find me on X at CWall SE. Make sure you're subscribed to Bowie TV on YouTube. If you're in the Prince George's County, Maryland area, you have not cut your cable, you can find us on Comcast channels 190 and 1097. And you can find me online, Facebook. I'm Candi Waller. On Instagram, CEO CWall. And in terms of Bowie TV, you can find us on Bowie TV Sports, Bowie TV, all across all social platforms. Absolutely. Make sure you watch it. We try to post as much of my questions, game day highlights, content. Clearly, nobody wanted to watch the game day highlights from Sunday. But
they watched the press conference, though.
But your press conference is the best.
I'll always watch yours. I told you that. Yours is clean. The audio is good. So, and everybody seemed to find it this past weekend. So
yeah, somebody even said that. They were like, how is y'all audio and your video on the press conference more clear than the Commander?
Yo, like, yours is in like 16K. Your joint is sharp. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. So no, awesome. This is always a lot of fun. So hopefully, you know, we could also get back to covering wins, because covering losses here is
that is so much more fun than talking about losses.
at all. I'm like, oh.
I can't thank you enough for the time, Candi. We all appreciate you coming on and joining us on CWall Wednesdays, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And by the time we come back and do this again, hopefully we will be in a much better state talking about this team.
Because if they down 2 by the time I come back, I'm gonna be like, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you.
I said, I don't know. Like the whole first couple hours of the show, I was like, I don't know.
I don't know. It could be one of those type of situations. Look, we're not speaking that into existence.
No.
I rebuke that devil. I don't want no parts of that. So let's get this win, so we ain't even got to go down that road. But
yes,
you take care. Safe travels. And I always tell people who are going to be in attendance to games on the road, you have one job to do. Candi, I know you're supposed to be objective, but you have to go in there, extract the dub, and bring it home. You have a job to do. Please execute your mission flawlessly. We are all counting on you. Thank you so much, Candi. Take care. Shout out to everybody who held us down for over 3 hours. We can't thank you guys enough for the support, and we look forward to doing this again with you guys very soon in the near future. Hail, raise hell. Let's get this dub. We need it bad. See y'all next time.